Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. I'm your host, Didi. I literally just hopped on camera and immediately started it because you all typically get onto me for being a few minutes behind. And I had to push this, I had to change the time a couple of times so that we can make this work for everyone. And a video is playing somewhere. That's weird. Okay. All right. And I also just tried to make room because I know a lot of you all are probably going to be watching Candace. So I appreciate you all for tuning in. A quick update because a lot of you all are going to be asking. I expected to be off for the past week, and because I had surgery, I had tooth surgery, and still no pain. I don't know how to explain that. There's no swelling. Literally, if I expand my mouth as if I'm going to yawn, that's the only way I feel just a little bit of soreness, but I don't know how to explain that. If this is your first time tuning into the show, my name is Demetrius. I go by Didi for short, and I appreciate you for being here, even if this is your first time or your last time. And so, as we know, last week was the preliminary hearing or the pretrial hearing for Tyler Robinson, the individual accused of taking out Charlie Kirk. And there's been a lot of ruckus and a lot of people analyzing how that preliminary hearing took place. And so I wanted to talk to one person in particular I wanted to speak to. I saw her name coming up quite a bit over the past few days, and I reached out to her actually Saturday, and I didn't hear back from her until late last night. And then this morning I saw that she actually went on to Barron's show. Shout out to Baron Coleman. And I was like, okay, so that's actually super dope. And this ended up leading to two other people that's going to be joining this individual. Before I bring her on and her friends onto the show, I wanted to play a few clips that I'm sure most of you all, especially by now, have heard about, but you have not heard my reaction. So I'm going to play these clips to sort of give you all what's been taking place mostly over on X, as far as a lot of popular influencers talking about this high HD footage that took place. And I took a couple of notes, so I want to play this first. I don't want to have them waiting too long, but I want to play this first just so you all can sort of see a couple of the things that they've been saying. And we're going to start off with Mr. Jack Posobiec. And this is the same gentleman or the same guy who, let's see here. As we know, he was involved with the Epstein file released, and it was like some sort of movie. The way they sort of introduced this Epstein file release information thingamajiggy to us, and that was pretty strange. But if you are new to the show, then you probably are not aware that I've already quote unquote exposed or talked about Jack Posobiec quite a few times, as he has military intelligence background, which I do not believe is an accident. I do not believe it's an accident either that he was working alongside Charlie Kirk. I think he was sent. The question is who he was sent by, right? And so this is the individual that is going to be at the forefront of pushing this narrative that Tyler Robinson took out Charlie Kirk. And so we have to keep that in mind at all times. And I found this picture of him more recently, which I hadn't seen before. Once again, if you follow the channel, you understand the significance of this. These people do not throw up these hand signs just to simply say A-OK. And further proof of that is because of Mr. Isaac Cappy, who told us back in 2019 who these people are, that being Laura Loomer, Jack Posobiec. He accused these people of being foreign invaders, right? Very evil people. And Isaac Cappy, for those of you that don't know, worked very deeply in Hollywood, lost his life after dropping a series of videos exposing Hollywood and the people that run Hollywood. And he repeatedly claimed that he was not suicidal, but then he still ended up unaliving himself. All right. And so with that, let me go ahead and just play this first clip from Jack, and then we'll get into the interview.
I think everything's been proven. I think it's proven. It's, I would say, beyond probable cause at this point. I think that the question for me is how do you even get reasonable doubt when there's so much evidence? But The thing that I do just have to say is that I know that you guys watching on live stream couldn't see the last video that was shown. Well, it wasn't edited. It was zoomed in.
Yeah.
It was zoomed in from the surveillance video off campus, and specifically the part of the Losi Center, the roof, and you see everything. You see everything.
You see everything.
He climbs over. He assembles the gun. He runs over to the edge. Gets down in a prone position, and you see the time, and we all know what time. And it was like so slow, just watching those seconds, click, 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 and then you see him take the shot.
And I don't want to play too much of it because, again, I'm going to play a couple of more of these other influencers so we don't take up too much time before we bring our guests on. But I wanted to just refresh everybody's memory of what it is that these people were saying. And just so we're on the same page, let me go ahead and play for those of you that haven't seen what Mr. Isaac Cappy had to say about individuals like Jack Posobiec and Laura Loomer.
All over the place. Jack Posobiec, Gabe Hoffman, Mike Cernovich, Laura Loomer. Gabe Hoffman is running ops on people. He is a bad guy, dudes. I look like I've seen a ghost. Yeah, I have. And someone that was very close to me, I'm pretty sure they were just there to infiltrate me. These are really fucking bad people, and I'm beyond pissed. I don't even know how to describe the feeling inside of me. It's bad. It's bad, guys. These people are bad. They tried to set someone up that you know and love. They're fucking evil. These people are evil. These people are evil. They're unregistered foreign agents. Sure? No, not sure. Not sure.
This was way back in 2019, right? And that means something. And the last person I'm going to play before we bring our guests on is going to be, I'm going to wait to play Benny when they come on, but I'm going to play Mr. Officer Tatum. I want to play Officer Tatum in particular because I'm going to be able to prove that Officer Tatum was doing this. He had ulterior motives for the reason that he chose to do this. So here's the clip of Officer Tatum, him giving his thoughts on what he saw only after Mrs. Erica Kirk herself decided to invite him, even though I believe he attended days before, but I'll get confirmation on that here in just a moment.
Video that they showed that was zoomed in, you can see it as clear as the noonday sun that he came into the facility. He climbed onto the roof. He was in a prone position. He took a shot, ran and jumped off the roof just like the testimony showed.
The thing that I do just have to say is that I know that you guys watching on live stream couldn't
Robinson committing.
Okay. I didn't know this was a compilation. And the proof that Mr. Tatum was up to something is because this was the first thumbnail that Officer Tatum decided to post originally when his video went public on YouTube. And as you can see here, first and foremost, by the way in which Officer Tatum, Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec, and the list goes on, Grandma, all of these people who I believe is in a coordinated message group, the way that they describe it is just like this image here. You are led to believe that you're going to see some high quality footage up close and personal of Tyler Robinson, Pow Pow, and Charlie Kirk. And this is his thumbnail, right? So I believe it was only after the backlash came, which I don't know why he didn't think the backlash would come, that he decided to actually change the thumbnail to this here instead, which is completely different. It's not up close and personal. It's not some high HD footage at all. In fact, this is footage that we've seen for months now. Why would you choose to do this? And I think we know why, because he was choosing to be misleading, right? And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our guests for today's video, and we're going to get into the preliminary hearing.
Hello, everyone.
What's up, Dee?
How are you all doing?
Good. How are you? Can you hear us okay?
I can hear you well.
Okay.
All right. So I always forget to do this when I have guests on. Let me get the, so everybody's names are showing. Perfect. All right. So we have Teresa, we have Billy Webb, and then Brandy. One of the coolest names ever. Is it Siciliani? Hold on. Siciliani? Say it.
It's close. So the actual way is Siciliani, or you can just say Siciliani or spill chili on me. Whatever. Doesn't matter.
Wow. That's so dope. So Brandy, I reached out to you Saturday. I saw your name pretty much under all these influencers' comments, pretty much debunking what they were saying or refuting what they were saying. They claimed to have saw, and I reached out to you Saturday. You responded back to me Sunday, but as I said at the very beginning, it is my understanding that you've now been on at least a couple of different shows. Am I right about that?
Yeah. So Billy and I went on Baron Coleman's show last night, and then we also went on Rex Jones's podcast this morning, Alex Jones's son. And then you're the third one.
Oh wow! I didn't know that's who Rex Jones was. I didn't even know Alex Jones had a son who had a show or a podcast.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I've been online friends with him for maybe 4 or 5 months. And for the first 3 months of that friendship, I always saw him post about Alex Jones being his dad. And I thought it was a joke because his name's Rex Jones.
Right.
So yeah, you and me both anyway.
Wow.
But no, it's true. That's his son. He's really cool.
Okay. So this is dope. So so the reason why I wanted to sort of preface this interview with saying that you had already been on a couple of different shows. Teresa, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you been on any shows prior to mine?
No, not since Friday. I mean, we did the shows while we were there at court, but nothing after Friday. My own today.
Okay, heck yeah. And we'll definitely have you all to plug your shows here before the show ends. And if I forget to do that, please remind me. So the reason why I wanted to preface with that is because I don't want you all to sort of do like a wash and rinse and repeat of just regurgitating or repeating all the things. I haven't seen I haven't watched very many of Baron's shows because his shows are typically longer and I still have to just find the time to watch his shows. His stuff is really good. So I actually have not seen the way in which the interview went. So what I would like to do is let's just start from the beginning. Brandy, Billy, Teresa, are you all from Utah? And if not, where are you originally from, or where do you reside? If you're comfortable with saying so.
First.
I can go first. I'm from Southern California.
Okay.
And I moved to Utah about 2 years ago, I would say. And I live in Salt Lake City.
Heck yeah. And Salt Lake City is how far from Orem?
About an hour and 20 minutes. And so Teresa flew in, and I'll let her explain where she's from. But we decided to get an Airbnb because we didn't want to have to drive about an hour and 20 minutes there in the morning and then back every single day. So we thought it just made sense to get an Airbnb there.
Okay. Billy?
I am from Indiana. I've lived in 5 states. We're not going to go through all of that, but I have lived here in Utah for the last 3 years. I moved here just about a year before Brandy, and I live about 10 minutes away from Brandy here in Salt Lake City. And I didn't stay in the Airbnb. I commuted, and so I wasn't able to get in as much as Teresa and Brandy were, but I realized concrete sleeping was the way to go.
Yeah. Gosh.
Okay, and I saw someone mention that online. We're definitely going to get into that. And Teresa, where are you from?
I'm from Wisconsin, and yeah, I flew in. I met Brandy at one of the first hearings that I flew out for in April, I think it was. Yeah, so we connected, and then I flew out on Sunday, and Brandy picked me up, and we did some concrete. I don't think we slept though.
Not well.
So you all were literally sleeping outside of the courthouse?
Yeah. Well, I did go to the car briefly to sleep in the car one of the nights because I was just like, I need to sleep on something more comfortable. But yeah, no, we slept outside, and there's photos of us sleeping outside, and we made friends that were the 14 people that, were waiting in line. It was kind of crazy. It's like you had to get there at a certain time because if you weren't one of the 14, you weren't going to make it inside. So people were lining up like really early. So we brought like laptops and we're watching TV shows and brought food, and yeah, it was a whole ordeal.
I'm gonna
And
quote
there's
Brandy.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm gonna quote Brandy really quick. It looked like a bougie homeless camp. It really did.
Is that what I said?
You did say that. I've been telling everyone that. I'm like, Brandy said this.
bougie
It was
homeless
so
camp.
funny.
There's no laws. I'm assuming the answer is going to be no, but there's no laws outside of sort of loitering outside of the courthouse.
No, because I mean, you had to do that. Everyone that worked at the courthouse was okay with us camping because everyone wanted to get inside. And so you just had to get there as early as possible and camp out. There was really no other way to secure your spot.
Where would you say you all fell at in line as far as the number count?
Brandy and I were 5th and 6th the first time. I think the second time we were pretty early on because we went like at 11:30. So, gosh, maybe 4th.
That was Thursday. Brandy texted me at midnight, a little bit before midnight, and said there's 6 people there. Teresa and I are going now. But I was knocked out because I was so tired from the night before. So I think you guys were 7 and 8.
Were we?
And since
Okay.
I didn't get in on Thursday because I slept through that text that they sent me. And so I went there and hung out all day, and I stayed. I stayed from the end of that hearing to the next one on Friday. So I was number 1.
How crazy is that? Like
That is insane.
Even before the hearing was over, Billy was already in line for the next day.
But I brought mattresses. I brought like nice camping mattresses, not like
Yeah.
I brought dingy ones. I brought a bunch for a lot of different people.
Thank God you did that. She brought like foamy like pads and blankets and everything. So it was way more comfortable that night. Like I think me and you slept like pretty I don't want to say
decent.
well, but like
It was hot outside, but I
it was
slept
way
decent.
more comfortable. And I brought my little dog too. There's some funny photos of him that some photographers took.
Like you said, bougie homeless people. Okay, so
yeah, okay.
Teresa, let's start with you. First thing I would like to know before we get into it is how many people would you say most you saw out there? Like if you all fell maybe 5th, 6th, first in line, how many people were behind you?
Well, yeah, at one point people were waiting for in line in case other people, dropped off and left the line. But I think at one point at the busiest day when we already had our 14, there was at least six, 7 more behind waiting for somebody to drop off.
I see what you did there. Okay. Okay, cool. Now, were you all, Brandy, would you say that you all were, or Teresa, whichever is comfortable with answering first, were you all Charlie Kirk fans prior to September 10th? I'm assuming the answer is yes, but I don't know the answer.
I was not. I did not know about Charlie Kirk. The first that I saw of Charlie Kirk, I was online watching a podcaster and was something unrelated. And the news came over live. Charlie Kirk just got shot. Somebody texted her, and she read it online. I turned on the news and X, and I saw the video. And as soon as I saw it, the first thing that went through my head is that's an organized hit. That's not a random. I don't even know why that went through my head. That's not just a random shot. That's an organized hit. And at that point, I just followed all of, that I could about the news, mainstream media. I went off mainstream media, started listening to people on X and on YouTube and all that. And then I've, decided to speak out on that too.
Okay, Brandy, were you a Charlie Kirk supporter, follower, fan?
Yeah, like very, very much so. I just want to clear something up in the comments really quick though. People are like, you took your dog to court. No, I was camping outside with Teresa and Billy and brought my dog, but our Airbnb was less than a mile down the street. So after you got your wristband, you had an hour before court started. So we would run back home, change really quick out of our pajamas, and I dropped my dog off. So no, Maddox was not in the courtroom.
I was like typing that response right before you started saying that. I was like, I'm gonna send it anyway.
Yeah. Okay. But anyways, yeah. So I went to Arizona State. Charlie Kirk actually followed me on Instagram, I think when I was in college. Like this was years ago. I'm 32. Charlie and I are very close in age. His birthday's in October and mine is in March. So he's like a few months older than me. And so I've been a follower and supporter of Charlie Kirk for years, like years and years and years. And after I lived in Arizona, when I went to ASU, I moved to Florida, then back to California, then I moved back to Arizona. And I decided to join the Young Republicans group of Arizona. And so I became friends with some Turning Point USA employees, and I've met Charlie a few times. Me and him actually, like I said, follow each other on Instagram. I would go to many TPUSA events. I almost quit my job actually to work for Turning Point. I was like very, very close to doing it, but I'm really glad that I didn't, because I'm wondering now if I would, have some type of NDA or something where I couldn't speak out. But yes, very much a huge Charlie Kirk supporter. I was absolutely devastated when he died, like absolutely devastated. And I've been listening to podcasts for a very long time. I've always wanted to start one, but I was afraid to start one on my own. And after Charlie got assassinated, Billy and I decided to start one together, specifically for Charlie Kirk, to figure out what really happened to him. And me and her did the podcast together for a long time. And then we eventually decided to kind of just do our own podcast because our schedules are so different. But yeah, just to answer your question, very much a huge Charlie Kirk supporter.
Okay. Billy?
So you always have that one friend that knows the most about what's going on in the world and just like is the most passionate about politics and everything else. That was Brandy for me. And I was the other extreme for her, probably. Like I'm the friend that never didn't know who anybody was. I didn't even know who Candace Owens was. Like maybe I would have recognized the name, couldn't connect a face to it. And
like as of October of 2025, you didn't know who Candace Owens was, is what you're saying?
As
September.
Yes, September.
When Charlie Kirk got assassinated.
Yeah.
Right, for sure.
So I'm in between jobs for a couple weeks here when that does happen. And I hear, this big political figure. And I mean, the same goes for Charlie Kirk. I was really I did not keep up with politics or any political commentators. I've been playing a huge catch-up game for the past 10 months and 2 days. But it's like Brandy was kind of teaching me who everyone was when it happened, because this happens. I'm like, oh, Brandy, who's my friend that's really into politics, and I know has connections in some, not like actual deep connections, but has met a lot of these people,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, she's going to be really devastated right now. So hang out with her for a few days. We're watching Candace Owens. I'm learning who Candace Owens is, and I get really into it really fast, basically.
Okay, Teresa, there's something much later in this episode. Brandy and Billy are definitely free to stick around. There are many different theories that we've entertained on this show about what truly may have happened on September 10th. But for now, first and foremost, to respect you all's time and why I have you here, first and foremost, Brandy, Billy, and Teresa, I appreciate you all for agreeing to come on. It means the world. Everybody that's watching, the biggest way that you can support this this video and to support this channel is to hit the like button. I will really appreciate that. Let's go ahead and start on day one. Before you even get into the courtroom, what were you expecting? Once you got in, what were you most surprised about? Did you see everyone, the big names that are attached to Charlie Kirk? What are the biggest revelations, your biggest takeaways from day one? And we can start with Brandy, I guess. Okay.
From day one. So we didn't get in on Monday. We were not able to get inside the courtroom, but we did watch. Had no idea they were only going to allow 14 people in. So we just watched from our Airbnb. I don't recall because all the days are kind of blended together. You know what I mean? Teresa, do you remember exactly what they went over on Monday? And then I can comment on my thoughts about it.
And Teresa, if you do not remember, if it's easier for you ladies, we do not have to go day by day. but
I think we
could just
shouldn't
speak
do day
about the
by day
preliminary
because
hearing in
that's
general.
it's a little difficult to remember exactly unless I
Yeah.
had my notes with me.
So this,
Okay.
so I
Well, we
just
could
did
just
a
talk about the
little AI
preliminary
that
hearing in
was,
general if you'd like.
Brig, Bagby or whatever. What's his
Oh,
face?
Officer Bagley.
Bagley. Yeah. So that was his testimony, and that was like the big thing from day one.
Okay, do you want to talk about that?
No. Just because like I was watching other commentators speak about it for the most part.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he was their first witness that they call Officer Bagley. He was the one that claimed that he went onto the top of the Losey Center with the person, the unidentified person with the badge, and his
Yes.
body cam footage turned off just before he supposedly found the
the
screwdriver. He also
screwdriver.
claimed that he came across a pistol or a holster, but he didn't think that it was actually the weapon that was used, because only once he saw the holster, all of a sudden he realized the sound he heard was actually that of a rifle as opposed to that of a pistol.
Mhm.
That was essentially what I remember, because I covered day 1 and day 2 on the channel. So I definitely remembered his testimony.
Yeah, that was actually crazy. I remember him saying that someone came with him on the roof. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
And he didn't know if who this person was, and they
Yep.
had a gun, right?
Yep.
And then he found a pistol holster on the grass, not on the roof.
Right.
And this is the same officer that also said that he found a gun, like a bullet that was from a different type of gun on the roof, on a different roof.
Well, they asked him, was he aware that there was another bullet on a different roof? And I
Mhm.
believe he said that he wasn't aware of it. Which is mind-blowing to even hear that. So what was the first day you all were able to attend in person? Was it day 2?
No, so I
Wednesday.
went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
We all went different, well, not all different days, but I went Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Teresa, what days did you go?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay.
And then
Yeah,
Billy
so
went.
yeah,
I went
he's the
Wednesday
one.
and
He
Friday.
It was the holster that made him change his opinion about what kind of gun shot he heard.
Right.
I'm like, oh, okay. What?
You're right. So when you all like get into the courtroom, what was the procedure? I'm pretty sure that you go through some sort of scanner, right? And once you get inside, was all of the family and close friends sort of seated at front, such as Erica Kirk, all of the influencers that we've named already? How was that set up? Was the general public forced to sit at the very back? How was that set up?
Teresa, if you want to
Yes.
explain, you can.
Yeah, so the front row is taken up by either the plaintiff or the defendant's team or supporters, right? And they don't have to have wristbands. They are put on a list. They're pre-approved to come in. Now they alternate days in which they're sitting in front. So when we first went on Wednesday, Erica Kirk was in front at the very first bench, and then behind her was another bench of her supporters, and then us in the public, the 14 wristbands on one bench, and then Tyler Robinson's family behind us. So then on Thursday, it alternated to where Tyler Robinson and his supporters, not Tyler Robinson, were in the front. Then it was us, and then it was Erica Kirk and her people. So they alternated the days of who sat in front. We always sat between the two sides.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. So essentially, are you saying you had about maybe 30, 40 people in the courtroom total as far as in the audience?
Yeah. And spectating, and then you have
Probably
the
more
news
than
media.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, say like 14 per bench. And
Because
then
there was
the
14
news
media people, and then there was
And it-
14 public people,
Yeah.
and then there was
and then-
also Tyler's family, and then Erica's family that she brought.
Yeah. And then the media are in the jury box. So they're up at the front in their own, where the jury would sit. So they can see everybody. They can see Tyler's face. They can see the attorneys. They can see Erica, her supporters, Tyler Robinson. Now, and they can look around. If you're in there, you're not allowed to speak or nod or make sounds. You can't. We were strictly told not to make contact with either Erica's party or Tyler's party. We couldn't talk to them. We couldn't look at them. We just needed to keep our eyes straight ahead.
Mm-hmm.
So you also you can't leave the courtroom. So you can only leave at recesses, which is why they had so many, I believe, is so people can go have a break. Once you leave, you're not allowed back in until after the next recess. So, but the plaintiff and defendant parties, they can come and go as they need to.
Okay, so very good explanation, Teresa. I'm curious, and cell phones, that's a given in most courtrooms anyways, but I'm assuming you were forced to leave your cell phones outside of the courtroom.
Oh yeah, you cannot bring any electronics in.
No computers. Only you're allowed to bring a water bottle or water, and then a notepad and pencil or pen, and that's it.
Okay, let's start with Tyler Robinson. What were your impressions of his behavior, sort of just seeing him? What are your thoughts?
I'll let one of you guys go first.
You go ahead.
So I've seen him, a large handful of times. We all have at this point.
Yep.
And I feel like every time I see him, he does get paler and sicklier and scrawnier. Like he's scrawnier than all of us. And that's saying a lot, And I had a conversation with someone else about this earlier, and they were like, yeah, he's probably honestly just waiting to die at this point. He's starving himself likely, and he doesn't get any sunlight in confinement.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, he definitely looks very sickly. I don't agree with people saying that he is smirking. I mean, also he's facing forward. It's not like he's turning around looking at us. So
I've never.
So people that are saying, "Oh, I saw his face and he has no remorse and he's smirking," it's like, I don't agree with that. I think he's very much facing forward because he doesn't want attention like that, and he doesn't want people to analyze his face. His attorneys were telling him not to turn around, I'm sure. But in my opinion, I don't believe that he turns around and looks like he has no remorse or is laughing or anything like that. That's just my opinion. Every time I've looked at him, he's facing forward.
Okay. Before I respond, Teresa, did you have anything to add?
I didn't actually pay much attention to Tyler. I was more interested in Erica and her parties, and then his parents.
Okay, perfect. We'll get to Erica next. Then this is what I'll say. This is a way for me to lead into asking you all about this, because if the notion is that, and based on what you all have said, this is probably something that I guess Benny Johnson was accurate about. He did say that Tyler Robinson seemed super pale and very scrawny, which I believe are the exact words that he used. So if we are to believe that, and Billy, if I remember you correctly, you said that it's almost as if he's just waiting to pass away. Do you believe that Tyler Robinson did this? Do you believe he played a role? What are you all's beliefs? Because it may vary amongst the three of you. Billy, we can start with you.
So I'm open to anything. I'm even open to the fact that what I consider to be a Fed slop narrative might be completely true. I would like to see more in order to believe that. And if that's the case, I'll admit that I've been wrong all along. I don't have any pride attached to what I believe, but my current beliefs that I feel strongly on are that Tyler Robinson knew that he was involved in something. Now, I can't elaborate on whether he knew what he was involved in, or if he was hired to walk around a neighborhood, or hired to, if he was, I'm open to the fact that the possibility that he was in St. George the whole time and they found some lookalikes and they're like, turn yourself in right now. I'm open to a lot. Like I said, I'm even open to the fact that it's all correct and true. But I think he was maybe involved in something, maybe didn't know. That's what I strongly feel the most connected to.
Okay. Brandy?
So After speaking with Tyler's family, certain people, and also a member of Lance Twig's family, based on what I've heard from them, I believe that Tyler and Lance were involved, but I absolutely don't think that Tyler took the shot. I don't think that at all. I think the person that's more involved, like deeply involved, is Lance. I don't know this obviously for a fact, but I think maybe they found some inappropriate things on Lance's computer or something, and they were like, hey, you're going to help us with this. Otherwise, you're going to go to prison for this. And I think it's interesting that Lance, his DNA is on everything, but he has immunity right now. And
which is wild.
It seems like Tyler was set up, in my opinion. I don't think, like I said, that I don't think he pulled the trigger. I don't even know if it's a gun, to be honest with you. I think that Tyler maybe was told, like, hey, we're going to help with this today. Like, I need you to drop off clothes here. I need you to do this. And he was kind of just like, okay, like, I'm down. And these text messages, in my opinion, I think that they're fake. I think that he didn't send them. I think that, you can send text messages on an Apple Watch, on a computer. How do we know that those were sent by him? And I think that he started to get scared that maybe the police were going to off him or something, because I just don't think, if my theory is correct that he wasn't the one to do this and there are other people involved, I don't think he was supposed to live. And so I think, based on what I've heard from his family, they didn't turn him in because they thought that he did it. I think that they brought him to the police station because they were worried for his life, or maybe even theirs. Like, if the SWAT team just busted into their house, So yeah, that's my opinion.
Okay, before we go to Teresa, I'm curious. Do we even know how long Lance and Tyler Robinson were friends or involved? Because I've heard this notion that it's possible that Lance was a Fed, was used as a ploy to set up Tyler to sort of pull this off, which, by the way, if that is the case, then that means that the entire narrative is Fed slop and that it was an operation. But the biggest thing, I don't know if I've heard an answer to, and after watching Candace's episode not even 30 minutes ago, do we know how long they knew each other prior to September the 10th? Because if they knew each other for like years, I find that harder to believe that he was Feds,
Okay, so I know it's in my notes. I know I wrote it down. I believe, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that they have known each other in person. Like, they started living together in 2023, but they were friends online playing video games prior to that. But I don't think that they met in person until 2023. So does that seem right? 2023?
I thought it was shorter than that, but
I thought it was 2023. I'm pretty sure. About that, but I could be mistaken. But I know that they were friends online playing video games before they ever met in person and before they ever lived together. But I know that they randomly decided to live together, and they didn't start dating until they were roommates. So their relationship developed as they were living together.
Interesting. And after the preliminary hearing, would you say it's safe to say that you're still under that belief, like as in you believe that?
Do you have a theory of why that might not be true?
I have a lot of theories when it comes to Tyler and Lance. I'm not so sure. Lance, I know that being gay or trans, there's many different ways to look, right? You don't have to necessarily look gay, but I think a lot of it is not what we're being told. I think it's a lot of what you were saying, and I'm not so convinced that they were dating, right? Maybe Tyler was under the belief that they were dating, but I think that's part of the reason why I want to know how long they knew each other, because if Billy is right and it's a much shorter period of time, then I'm much more likely to believe that. But if it's what you're saying, Brandy, and it's What?
Sorry, I was not correct. Brandy was
Okay.
correct there.
Okay.
They moved in 2023. They lived together for a couple of months before dating. Like I said, like you said, maybe one of them wasn't under the impression that they were dating, but they lived together, according to Lance's testimony, for 2 months, started dated for about a year, and then the arrest.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's knowing each other in person for about 14 months, give or take.
Okay. And before I digress too much, Teresa, are you under the belief that Tyler is the one that did this to Charlie?
I don't. Like I said from the beginning, in my mind and with my eyes, I recognize this as a very coordinated, intentional, organized hit. And when I say organized, I mean that in the strictest sense of the word, as organized, as in crime. There's something there was an X space that we were a part of last week, and Blake Neff was on the X space, and there was something he said in talking about the war. And, he was talking about the war. He said he knew they, as in TPUSA, knew it would be a hard war to sell to us, to you, to me. He said, a hard war to sell to us. And so I was like, oh, they literally are. TPUSA is a literal propaganda arm for the administration and for the deep state, for whatever the government wants to carry out. And that's what they're doing right now. They are selling Tyler to us as the lone shooter because I feel, in my opinion, the people in power, that's what they want. And so that's how TPUSA is operating. I don't think Tyler took the shot. I think perhaps he thought in the beginning, if that is true, that he said, he admitted to Twigs that he did it, whatever that is.
Mm-hmm.
He possibly thought maybe he did shoot a gun, and maybe he thought he hit Charlie. But then as time went on, he's like, wait a minute, maybe it wasn't me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was possibly under the impression that it was him, and then he realizes he's been duped.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you've definitely spent some time thinking on this.
That was well said, Lisa.
Yeah, I agree. Erica, what were you all's observation of Erica Kirk in the courtroom? I guess we can start with you again, Brandy.
I don't know. I just don't get the best vibes from her, just seeing her in person. She was crying. She did sit next to Charlie's mom, I think a majority of the court hearings, if not all of them. And I believe that Charlie's parents do not go on YouTube. I don't think that they watch, any of us conspiracy theorists. I think that they just think that the court system is going to figure out what actually happened to their son. I think that if Erica did fool Charlie, that she fooled his parents as well. They were not very involved. They didn't go to TPUSA events, from my knowledge. They were very much wanted to stay out of the spotlight. So I think they kind of just let Charlie do his thing, but they weren't involved. And I don't think that they knew all of the things that Charlie was going through. And I don't know. I wasn't like close to Charlie where I could be like, yeah, he talks to his parents every day. But from what I've gathered, I don't think that they had any idea that he was, texting people a couple of days before he died. I think they're going to kill me. I don't get the impression that they were aware of any of that. And so I don't think that they understand all of the different factors that play into this. And circling back to Erica, though, she was just she didn't speak or anything. She's just, not that she needed to, she wasn't called to, but she was just very quiet, just was crying a lot. Just kind of
she cried a lot. You would describe it as a lot.
Would you say a lot?
And would you say that you were able to actually see her crying?
The tissues, the
dabbing and all of that? Okay.
her makeup was pretty smeared. I sat directly behind her one day, and I couldn't hear anything at the point that, like, when I first realized that she might be crying, because I saw her body shaking, and I saw Mrs. Kirk to her left, like leaning in, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's crying right now, because I could see her body shaking. So it wasn't like a tear coming out. It was like, and then I started hearing audible noises. This is on Wednesday. And then on Friday, I'm actually not behind her at all. She is on the left side of the courtroom, and I am on basically the right side of the courtroom. And I could still hear her crying. This is the last day of the hearing, towards the end, when they're showing the clips and everyone starts coming out and talking about how emotional it is at the end, even though we had maybe they hadn't seen these clips, but a large part of the public had already seen the vast majority of those clips that were shown. And I know we're going to get into that a little bit later, but I wasn't, I wasn't like, oh, of course, she's manipulating people by crying. Like, I'm sure it's hard to watch that, but I also would be shocked had she not seen those clips before. Right. Is all I'm saying. And she was crying very hard.
I mean, she's sitting next to Charlie's parents. And I mean, if you are an actor, right? Like, let's play into that theory for a second. It's like, it's going to look real weird if you're not crying when you're sitting next to Charlie's mom and she's crying, Yeah.
I'm sorry, Teresa, I know, we talk so much, and then you're like, guys, you take up the whole time. I don't know if you're thinking that. I'm thinking of what I would be thinking. But I want to say one more thing. The first time that I saw her face on Wednesday, she was walking back from the bathroom. I hadn't seen her face. I'd seen the back of her head prior to this. She was walking back from the bathroom after the first recess, and she wasn't making eye contact with anybody. And that was consistent throughout the rest of the times that I saw her, never made eye contact. She was looking down at the ground and walking kind of with a little bit slouched, not humpback, but a little bit slouched. And I, in my head, was like, oh my God, that is a copy and paste of the White House Correspondents' Dinner that went insanely viral, of her leaving and a little bit hunched shoulders, looking very fearful, wide eyes, not Erica wide eyes, not wide eyes, scary, but fearful wide eyes.
No.
I did see her once turn around and kind of laughingly make a comment or talk to Graham Allen. I think it was
Graham Allen was there.
Yeah. He actually reposted my ex post and said she's a liar or something. I don't know exactly what he said, but I'm like, bro, we watched the same video. You guys are the ones lying. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, not saying for someone to turn around for 5 seconds and kind of smirk and make a comment is anything sketchy. She's allowed to do that. But I did see her talk to him one time, and I was looking, and I was like,
Miss Teresa?
Yeah. So the first time that I noticed Erica crying was when her attorneys got up to talk about letting the public see all of the information. He was really impassioned. He was really emotional. And he said, when we don't let the public see this, they think we're lying, or they doubt, that it's true. And so at that point, that's when I noticed Erica really turn on the tears and make it really obvious that she was crying. To me, it played to the judge. To me, it played to the rest of the people in the courtroom, that the message that I received from that is that I'm like, they're the best tears that I've seen so far. So it made me wonder if it's getting to her that everybody hates her and thinks that she's a liar and thinks TPUSA is involved. But she wanted their story to be put out to the public. their narrative put out to the public. But that's the first time I really saw the tears come on. The other time where I heard her and her, her entourage of people that she had, of her influencers, were, crying when they were describing and reading the text messages back and forth, the alleged messages between Twigs and Tyler. So that was the other time where I really noticed. But they are the best tears I've seen so far. But I think to me, it was right on cue for what she wanted the judge to see. It was the exclamation point on what the attorneys were arguing for.
Now, when you all saw Erica coming out of the bathroom, was Erica by herself or was she with security?
She was never alone.
Okay.
She had multiple, like, what would you say, 4 security guards with her at all times, maybe?
Yeah, at least 3.
Yeah.
At least 3. I remember we couldn't go into the bathroom and we had to
like you were not allowed to go into the bathroom that she was in.
I didn't understand at first.
I'm like, what are we gonna do
to
air? Like,
to pee.
What? Yeah. Like
Okay.
they were like, you have to wait or go downstairs or go to the other bathroom. We're like, okay.
Okay, so Teresa, when you say the first day or the first time you noticed the tears, what day of the week would you say this is? Because I know sort of the hardest day, according to them, was Friday. Was this prior to Friday?
Yeah, it was Wednesday.
Okay.
It was Wednesday when they first made the argument to the judge that they wanted all of it. So she had done, was that Wednesday or Thursday? They did an emergency, they did an emergency pleading to the judge to make sure that everything was put out and transparent for the public. So it was the day that morning that she had put out that pleading to the judge.
Yeah. I remember it was towards the end of the day and it was pretty exciting throughout the beginning of the day, and then the last hour, maybe 2 hours, at least hour and a half, was so boring because it was just them going back and forth about that, Teresa, the whole time. I was falling asleep, and then Erica starts crying really hard, and I'm like, oh, now I have something to stay awake for.
Okay, so this high quality footage, the before we get into this, or sort of the introduction to getting into this, I wanted to wait until I got you ladies on the screen. We're gonna collectively first watch Benny Johnson, and then we're gonna watch the close-up of Benny Johnson's wife that I'm sure you ladies have already seen, but we're gonna play this for the audience for the first time.
Good. Let's do
Out of the
it.
4th District Courthouse here in Utah, the Charlie Kirk preliminary murder trial just wrapped, and we were there and witnessed everything. And you have to hear this because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video 4K of Tyler Robinson committing the murder of Charlie Kirk. But we saw it, and they played it on giant screens inside of the courthouse. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear the license plate number on his vehicle, his movements on the rooftop. You can time it up to when Charlie Kirk was murdered. And what you also couldn't see was what happened inside of the courthouse. Erica Kirk was sobbing in the arms of her mother-in-law, Charlie's mother, Mrs. Kirk. Feet away is Tyler Robinson, pale, sallow, bony, emaciated, staring at the floor the whole time, twitching and looking straight ahead, refuses to watch the video, refused to make eye contact with the family. Emotional day. The judge played all 20 minutes of the high definition security footage, and the whole courthouse gasped when it was over.
I have to pause just a moment before I get you ladies' opinions. It's what I thought when I first saw this footage was that, well, I shouldn't say that because I didn't know if he was lying or not. I had the inclination to not believe him, but once I saw you, I saw Elizabeth Lane, I saw a couple of other people. Once I saw people being sort of denying and rejecting his sort of recollection of what he saw in the courtroom, the first thing I thought to myself was, Benny Johnson, if we don't give him anything else, he's really good. He is really good, because even if Benny Johnson was not paid off, which he is, allegedly, even if he wasn't paid off by the powers that be, the deep state, whoever, whatever, they would hire him after this. They would look at a video like this and they'd say, wow, we could really use a guy like this, demonstrative. The crowd gasped, like he's speaking as if he's reading out of a novel. He's so good at what he's doing, but I believe the mistake that he made was including his wife, who almost looks like a handler, just standing behind him with this blank face on her, or this blank expression on her face. And what I'm going to do is like play maybe 30 seconds of just his wife, a close-up of his wife.
Because it was devastating what we watched. And the judge ruled that you can't see the high definition quality video 4K of Tyler Robinson committing the murder of Charlie Kirk. But we saw it, and they played it on giant screens inside of the courthouse. You can see clearly Tyler Robinson's face. You can see crystal clear the license plate number on his vehicle, his movements on the roof.
That is not the facial expression of any person, let alone your wife, who believes a word of what you're saying. And if someone was to say, wanted to be a contrarian and say, well, you have to understand there could be a multitude of things that could be going through her mind. Maybe they just got into an argument. It doesn't matter. Your wife knows that now you're on camera. He's this huge popular influencer, right? And he influences a lot of people, allegedly. You know that the camera is rolling. Why are you making these faces, biting your lip, glancing at him from the side of your eyeballs like this, as if, almost as if you're looking at him like, how can you lie so well? That's almost like how she's looking. So I'm going to stop babbling my mouth, and I want to hear from you ladies who was actually there. What was your first reaction when you first heard from, let me fix this. When you first saw the video of Benny, his wife, the whole ordeal? Teresa, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I can't speak to this. I was not there in person, unfortunately, but Brandy and Billy can.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
You go for it.
So you had just mentioned, maybe they got in an argument. So fun fact, Dee Dee, you actually can't talk in the courtroom. So there's no way they got into an argument right before this happened. And you also cannot gasp in the courtroom. You cannot make any sound. If you yawn in that courtroom, you have to do it as a soundless yawn, or you're getting kicked out of there immediately.
Even the family.
Erica, I believe, so I did look this up because I was like, well, they were very strict with us. And Teresa, you can speak to the fact that you did almost get kicked out for turning around one time.
Yeah, I did. I was, it was a recess. We were coming back in as as Tyler Robinson's supporters came in. And in fact, it was one of the people that locked eyes with me and smiled. And so I smiled back. It's somebody on the defense team. I don't know what role they play, but and then another member of the family had locked eyes with me once, and I smiled. And so, yes, the security guard came over and told me if I look back again, I will be ejected.
Sorry. We were cracking.
That's an interesting choice of word.
Like, were they like Top Gun? Like you're in like one of those airplanes that's like crashing and get ejected. We're like, what a weird choice of words.
Yeah. He says giant screens, you guys. They were probably 55-inch screens. It's not a giant Jumbotron screen either.
I honestly, when you said 55 inches, I was shocked by that because I remember, being in there and thinking to myself, is that like a 30 to 40 inch screen? I mean, it's hard to tell when you're sitting 10 feet away, really, but
yeah. Well, that's the other thing is that the monitor that we get to see, the media's monitor is really close to their box. They can see more closely than we can. The monitor that we get to see that is the same size, perhaps 55 inches is, it's at the front of the courtroom pretty much, the first third of the courtroom. So you can't even see that closely.
Yeah. I want to buy
That's crazy.
Screen.
And before we get into sort of one of the biggest revelations, in my opinion, that was revealed by this ex-user as it pertains to this supposedly high quality footage, I want to first show and reveal to the audience, yes, Brandy, I keep up, that Mr. Jack Posobiec has responded.
Mhm.
And as you can see here, let me zoom in. Brandy says, I stand by what I said 100%.
He responded to that?
I'm sorry?
He responded to that?
He did not respond to this in particular. I'm just saying this is what you said to what I'm about to play.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Him responding to your original tweet of sort of rejecting what it is that they claim they saw. And this is on the Megyn Kelly show. For those of you that don't know, I've done a background breakdown of Megyn Kelly as well. But let's get into this for now.
The very strange reaction to your reporting, because you came out on Friday, you and I were texting, you posted online, and you gave an interview to Charlie's old colleagues at Turning Point, Andrew and Blake. And
one sec.
I think it just pulled up.
Okay, perfect. Let me redo that. Sorry, audience.
You're good.
the very strange reaction to your reporting, because you came out on Friday, you and I were texting, you posted online, and you gave an interview to Charlie's old colleagues at Turning Point, Andrew and Blake. And immediately we had like backlash. It was strange, Jack, like backlash to your reporting. There's a podcaster named Brandy Siciliani who posted the following on X. I was in the courtroom today. There is no high quality zoomed in footage showing anyone taking a shot. The video shown is the same distance as the footage of, quote, Tyler, his name is in quotes, jumping off the roof shown in this screenshot. I have no idea why people are claiming otherwise. They know the video isn't going to be released publicly, so they're misrepresenting what was actually shown in court. And then she takes aim at Benny, who is also there, Benny Johnson. Benny is making it seem like there's a 4K quality video of Tyler pulling the trigger, and we all know that is absolutely not true. So what did you make of her and some others taking issue with your testimonial?
Well, what's amazing is the fact that we have this video at all, and if people are going to split hairs over whether or not we can actually see a finger, in the trigger well and pulling the trigger. I mean, you've completely lost the plot at this point. If that's the level you're going to, the idea that we have this video, that it exists, that is one of the most stunning moments, one of the most impactful moments in modern history, the murder of Charlie.
There's that charged language again. That is what you call, ladies and gentlemen, a straw man. That is a straw man. You're misrepresenting people's. No one said that we have to see how much dirt is under Tyler or the supposed person, Tyler Robinson's fingernails. No one says that it has to be that, but you're claiming that there's this high quality footage that shows Tyler's face. This is what you all said. And your words were, and I quote, "You see everything." What does that mean, Brandy?
I mean, you don't see anything. Like, the way that they're describing it is just so dramatic and ridiculous. It's literally the same camera angle as we've all seen of Tyler. That's why I put it in quotes. And Megyn Kelly said she put it in quotes because I don't believe that it's Tyler Robinson.
Right.
The same video of this person jumping off the roof. All it does is pan to the left and zoom in slightly. The way that Benny Johnson and Jack Posobiec are saying it's this zoomed in 4K footage of Tyler Robinson, and you can see his face and you can see him pull the trigger and you can see the gun go off. That is just the most blatant lie. And me and Billy talked to 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 other people from the public that were waiting in line with us, like out of the 14 people that made it inside. The people that we became like friends with that we talked to, was it 6?
Yeah.
They also all confirmed to us that that's not what they saw. They're like, that didn't happen. And it's just so crazy that they're blatantly lying about it. And it's like, why? Why are you blatantly lying about this unless it's for a certain agenda? And that's why I still, to this day, after going to the preliminary hearing and all the evidence I saw, I still think that it's not what they say it is. I think that there are people within Turning Point USA that are involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination. I think people within our government are involved. And I think people within the Israeli government are involved. And I think if people don't see that, it's like, are you not watching the same thing that we're watching? Have you not been paying attention? Like, it's pretty damn obvious to me that there's way more to the story than what they're saying. And if they're just going to blatantly lie about what they saw, it's like, you're lying for a reason. And I'm not going to let you get away with it. Like, thank God we were there so we could be like, that didn't happen.
And thank God we got the phone numbers of the other people that we made friends with as well, because we do have recordings. And I just want to clarify really quick. The other members of the public that were there that day and witnessed what we witnessed and what Jack witnessed and what Benny witnessed, they are on the side of the feds. They are actually on the side of TPUSA, but they're also on the side of the truth, to where they're not going to manipulate and lie about things. So we've had phone calls with multiple of these people, and we're going to have phone calls with more, I'm assuming. We have recordings of these phone calls. I just need to actually text them and ask them if they are okay with me putting their voice on the internet and slash or not with their name, whatever. And then we'll like just release some of those to the internet, because everyone who was there except for the people associated with TPUSA agrees. And we don't all agree on everything, but we agree on that video. We agree on what was shown in court. And, all of that being said, Benny's video got 2.1 million views. I just checked. I just verified that. And I am astonished and so grateful that Brandy's tweet just checked again, 3 million views. Like, we're doing it, guys. Like, let's have a moment of applause in the chat and here. Like, we are actually doing it. He got 2.1 million views, and it was way more than yours at first. I watched yours grow more, because it's like, people know that we're being honest. If I was on the side of them and wanted, let's say that it actually was zoomed in footage and I was fighting against people who were saying it wasn't, I would be describing, what could you see? You can see his nose. You can see I wouldn't be saying zoomed in. I wouldn't be saying, like, I would be like, okay, let me explain.
Yeah, because Jack Posobiec, and even, I watched that whole 16-minute segment. And in my opinion, he seems to get pretty nervous. Like, he's blinking a lot. He's like, seems like he's kind of stuttering over what he is describing. And at one point, I think he even says, like, well, like, you lost the plot. Like, if you think that you're going to be able to see someone pull the trigger or whatever. No, like, I'm not kidding you guys. It is so far away. You can't tell if it's a woman, if it's a male. You can't tell what they're wearing. When they crouch down, they kind of disappear. You can't tell they're holding a gun. You absolutely cannot see a gun go off. You cannot see anyone like recoil from shooting a gun. It is just the most dramatic thing I've ever heard, and the most blatant lie. That did not happen. And I hope they release the video. I hope that they do. I just don't think that they're going to. And I think that they keep saying, like, oh, well, I hope the video gets released so everyone can see, because they know that it's not going to get released. So they're trying to gaslight us into saying, oh, no, we saw this, when no, we didn't. We didn't. It's a lie.
Brandy, before we get to Teresa, Billy, you mentioned the impressions that I'm assuming you were talking about the impressions that Benny's video got in the end in comparison to Brandy's reply to his video on X.
Well, it wasn't a reply directly to his video, but it was a generic reply to, it seemed
like a quote tweet,
very coordinated, because Jack's tweet came out. You can see the shot being taken. It's just those words with a period at the end. And Benny comes out with that long video with basically just a long caption saying everything that he says in the video, more or less. And all these Brandon Tatum, Graham Allen, everyone's tweeting the same thing at the same time. Brandy calls me. I'm in the car driving away from the courthouse, and she's like, everyone's tweeting this stuff. Like, what is going on? And I'm like, dude, fire it out. Post a photo showing an example of what we saw. Like, do that. And I am so grateful that the world is like, it seems like something's happening. People are starting to wake up, and hers got much more engagement than Benny
Yes,
Johnson's.
but I have good news and I have bad news. So many years on this channel, I'm assuming that this is probably you all's first time. My understanding is that Brandon was already following me, but I don't know if she's ever watched any of my videos prior to Charlie Kirk. I've been covering psychological and military operations on this channel and psyops, what they call psyops, for probably 5 or 6 years on this channel, outside of politics as well. So I've been covering Hollywood, the music industry, and its war on the inner community, urban community, whatever. There's good news and bad news to the impressions. The good news is that, yes, this is first and foremost, a lot of people was praising Brandy, as they should be, online for her courage, for being super courageous to speak out against these people who have much bigger platforms. The bad news is they don't care. Their reason for doing this is because, as I believe, and a lot of other people believe, that it was most likely a military operation that may have taken place on September 10th. I am under the belief, and I say under the belief to be safe here, allegedly, I am extremely confident that this is what they call a psychological operation, in a sense of they don't care if there are other people who are there to prove them wrong. What they care about is that they have the platform to spew something. So even if something is most likely a lie, or most people will probably look at it and assume that it's a lie, they know, and people like Jack Posobiec that have military intelligence background, these people allegedly are trained in these sort of deals, and they've done test studies over the several decades, and they understand that if you just regurgitate something, even if it's like very hard for people to believe, well, surely the way the brain works, surely somebody that I believe and I know has told the truth on so many things in the past, especially politically related, surely they wouldn't lie to me again. Surely they wouldn't tell a lie so blatant and so obviously a lie. And surely they wouldn't keep repeating it using this charged language like overwhelming evidence, using language like demonstrative, right? Like Benny Johnson was using. And they know that if they repeat a lie often enough, people will accept it to be the truth, even when it's obvious that they're lying. Even if they can't convince everybody, that's the goal. So you have a Brandy to come out that her voice gets elevated with truth, because truth is always going to win. They don't care about that. They care about those out there that they can reach. And that is the purpose of them doing that, unfortunately. Teresa, your thoughts?
Where were we?
I'm sorry.
About what you just said.
That was a lot.
I mean, I can comment really quick on what you just said, since it was kind of regarding me, but like, I knew me posting that, I had the like worst anxiety that day, because I remember getting out of the courtroom and some reporter interviewed me and Billy, and they were like, what was your biggest takeaway, from today? And we were kind of like, it wasn't the most eventful court hearing. They found multiple DNA on the gun. And then I think you were like, oh, and they played a video. And I was like, yeah, but you couldn't really see that much in the video. Like, it wasn't anything that we haven't really already seen. And the way that we were talking about it was so honest. It was nothing crazy at all. And then when we overheard Jack Posobiec and Benny Johnson and Brandon Tatum talking about it, I was like, what the hell? I'm like, did we see the same video? I'm like, yeah, we did. I'm like, that is literally not true. And then so when we left the courtroom, I was calling Billy and I was like kind of freaking out. I was like, okay, they're just blatantly lying on X right now. They're saying we saw him take the shot. We saw this. It was 4K. I was like, I need to make a post about this, because this is a blatant lie. And I knew that if I posted that, I had a feeling it could go viral and people were going to call me a liar. And they were going to be like, well, who's this? Like, but I've been going to all the court hearings. I've been presenting all of the information that I have seen accurately. What do I have to gain to lie? Why would I lie about this? Why would I want my reputation and my word to be on the internet? And if I'm lying, then everyone's going to think I'm a liar. Why would I want that? What do I have to gain from this? And so I just want to be as honest as possible. And I know, like, God has our back. I know that. And I know that you need to present the truth because it's the right thing to do. And they did not. They lied. And so I knew speaking out against what they said was going to be scary. and I could get a lot of backlash, but I was like, I don't care. I'm going to do this for Charlie, and I'm going to tell the truth because no one else is going to.
And Didi, I'm sorry to play optimistic devil's advocate right now at what you just said about the Fed slap. They feel successful because they're pushing it. But I just, Benny Johnson, like I said, he got almost 1 million less interactions than Brandy got. He has 4.1 million followers on X. And Brandy going into this week, had like 5,000, 6,000 followers?
No, I think 3.4K.
3,000 followers
before the hearing.
And people are so into the truth that she still climbs and well surpasses Benny Johnson's engagement by 1 million. And I'm just...
And like, I don't like this attention. Like and people are like, oh, you guys just want to get famous. Like, no, I really don't. This is not the reason I started a podcast. This is not the reason I'm going to the court hearings. I genuinely care about Charlie Kirk, and I just want to get the truth out. And it's very overwhelming to get all of this attention and people calling you a liar and everything. It's awful, to be honest with you. But you know what? It's worth it, in my opinion, because who else is going to do it? If we weren't in there, like, who else would be like, they're lying about this? Like, thank God we made it inside. Like, it was literally a God thing.
For sure. And just for clarification, and Teresa, I'll let you go. Billy, thank you for the clarification. But for the record, I just want to make sure we're all on the same page with what I said. The reason why I say it's bad news in the sense of they don't care if the truth prevails. The reason why they're doing it, it's the same thing. Like, we all know the X amount of accounts that are on X or on Twitter that all are against Candace, against the anti-TPUSA crowd. We can list them all. Cinema Shogun, you got freaking Graham Allen, you got all these accounts that come out of left field. They all use the same language. And if you go to their comment section, many times you'll have people like a Ian Carroll who are, what is it called, ratioing these people. They won't stop. It's like you're embarrassing yourselves, but their goal, they don't care about that because they get to hide behind their platform and they're just following marching orders. So even though everything you all did was absolutely correct and absolutely courageous, they don't care. They're going to tell another lie. Even though they're going to get debunked, they're going to get, community noted. They don't care. They're embarrassing themselves, but they're following marching orders because for whatever reason in the world, they think it's going to work. It's like the person that just don't stop. Teresa.
Yeah. To talk about Brandy. I was there with Brandy, and I could see firsthand just how scary that is. You're just a normal, down to earth, everyday person who cares about the truth, who cares about calling out lies. And then you have these people with these huge platforms all coming at you and coming for you. And then their supporters coming at you and coming for you. Brandy, it was extremely courageous because when you step out on and you speak out like that, and you had a smaller platform at the time, and to do that is incredibly scary. Most people want to do stuff like that and they don't. So I want to encourage you and everyone else to step out. Don't be afraid of these people. These people, for the first time, I think, when I heard Blake Neff on that X space and he was talking, and I was asking him, do you think you could be misinformed, that you are being deceived? Has it occurred to you that could happen? And it's happening. And, he said, no, he believes everything. And so Brandy came out and she said, what about George Zinn? Doesn't that make you question what is going on? That George Zinn did this and he's like, no, because he's just, they told me he's just an agitator. He just goes to these things and he's an agitator. So for the first time, I really considered, are they really like I think they are, a propaganda machine for the deep state, for this organized government crime syndicate? And they really are being lied to, and they're just doing their marching orders like you did, like you just said. And that's the first time it occurred to me that possibly they too are part of of being lied to. You know, just go back and listen to that, you guys. It's long. You can, you know, skip through parts, but it was really telling.
I'm actually very shocked to hear Blake Delph is putting himself out there to the public, which leads me to my point before I play this last video clip to get you all's reaction to from the court or the preliminary hearing. But one of the biggest reasons, I'm sure there's several we could point to, one of the biggest ways to know for anybody that's sort of straddling the fence on how you feel about TPUSA, if you were truly, I don't even want to say not involved or involved. We can just set that to the side. If you were truly pursuing truth, if you were truly trying to figure out what happened with Charlie, if you were truly in the dark, why are you only choosing to talk to people who are, or do interviews with people that agree with you? Why aren't you coming on shows of people who are questioning the narrative? There isn't one single person, they haven't went onto their show to do that. Why? Because that tells me, if you were to, we don't have to use Candace as an example. Let's just use any of these independent investigators or online journalists. Why haven't you showed up on any of these people's shows to sort of figure out, like, okay, I have questions too. Maybe you are right about that. Not a single one. Mikey, Blakey, Andrew, Covette, Erica, none of them are choosing to do that. They only go to people who are Zionist or people who agree with them. You only do that when you have something to hide or it's some scripted interview you're wanting to give, because otherwise you'll talk to anybody outside of X Spaces. What are you being so reserved for? That's strange behavior. People do understand that we can see that it's strange that you're only talking to a select few amount of people. Who cares if you disagree with them? Okay, come on to the show and maybe convince them. No, you don't want to be asked the right questions, I to say. You have something to hide. And so with that, let's go ahead and play this last clip, which I'm, to my surprise, not that Candace does great work, but I didn't know she was going to play this in today's video, but I had this queued up to play for Brandy when I first reached out to her. I should say today, I was preparing to play this for Brandy before I knew we were going to bring other people on as well. There is an account. I'm going to tag them in the description once this live ends, because I forget the name of the account, so forgive me. But this gentleman did some incredible work. He found the quote-unquote fake HD footage that Brandy sort of debunked, Benny Johnson and all these other folks. Let's take a look at what he found, and I thought this was absolutely incredible.
Third leak in the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing, and this is going to blow back on a lot of the people that have been propagandizing that video, saying that it was, you know, crazy and it showed like insane detail and all that stuff. So this right here is the original. Okay, this is not the third leak. We'll get to the third leak here as quickly as possible. I want to play this, and I want you guys to notice this structure up here in the top left, in the top right hand corner. You see that structure right there? Okay, this is the video.
And Mr. Robinson is appearing on the exterior staircase, which gives access.
Okay, now you see this one? You see this in the top left? Okay, this is the video that Exhibit 12.1, the one that everybody got to see except the public. Everybody in the courtroom got to see except the public. And there's been like this crazy like outrage. Not outrage, but this crazy, like, I don't know what you would call it, but everybody's like, it was the worst thing I've ever seen. Guys, this has been out there forever. Anybody with half a brain and any type of video editing would have been able to duplicate the video. There is no enhancements. There's nothing crazy about it. And I'm going to show you guys. So this was day 2 of the Charlie Kirk assassination trial. This was at 54:13. Let's go to this one at 1 hour, 14 minutes, and 9 seconds. And I want to show you guys, they're about to show Exhibit 12.1. It wasn't the first time when the public saw it, the people in the courtroom saw it. The first time that the enhanced version was played was specifically for the judge and the witness only. However, in the fashion of the state, they left their computer open again. And you can now see this video that Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec, Officer Tatum, all these people are freaking out over. You can see that it's nothing. It is absolutely nothing. Brandy Siciliano was correct.
There's a difficulty in doing that is because we've zoomed in. It's removed the timestamp on it. So, well, you can just give me the count. The count on the bottom. There's a timer at the bottom of the total length of the video. So that's fine. I'm just trying to create a record of what exactly I'm looking at.
Okay, so we're going to pause there. I'm going to zoom in for you guys so you can see that computer monitor there, and let's keep going. I'm going to fast forward a little bit because it's a static screen. But remember, I told you to look at the top left, or excuse me, the top right of that one image. That's the top right there. You guys can make the comparisons for yourselves. But remember, when it switches screens, you were looking at the top left. Okay, now you can see that this is the top right quadrant that you would be looking at when the camera moved to where Robinson jumps off, allegedly Robinson jumps off the roof. Now, you can't see this here because it's a little difficult. I'll zoom in as much as I can so you guys can see, but the clear identifying image of Tyler Robinson, you're going to see it on this screen. And again, this is at 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 27 seconds on Court TV's day 2 of the trial. Okay, so you're going to see here. Correction, it's 1 hour, 17 minutes, and 30 seconds. He's running across now. I don't know if you can see it because all he is a pixel. That's all he is a pixel. He's running across right now. Watch. That's it. That's the enhanced version that everybody wants to condemn this guy on. Again, I'm not saying one way or the other here. I am not saying one way or the other here. But that's the enhanced photo that everybody has seen in the courtroom. That's it. It was leaked by the state. It was on one of the state attorney's computers during the trial. And the only reason I caught it is because I thought it was showed to everybody, and I went back to check, and I just happened to see it.
And I will say, so the name of the channel is CanCon. Thank you for revealing that for us. And I did edit this video. It was like maybe 2 or 3 minutes longer, or maybe a minute longer, and I just cut that part off. But I think I accidentally maybe cut the 2 or 3 seconds when Tyler, or this alleged person to be Tyler, was running across the roof. So if you want to see that on your own time, I will link this video, which is on X, in the description once this live ends. So forgive me for that. But let's just state the obvious, the elephant in the room here. That video footage is grainy. Yes, we're watching a video of a video, but that's clearly there's nothing about that that's high quality.
No. And we watched it. We watched it on the screen. Yeah. It's that exact video, you guys. It's nothing different than that. It's slightly zoomed in. It's still a black grainy figure. You cannot see anything that is more than we've already seen.
And was this on? So this is from day 2. How many of you all were there on day 2? None of you all?
Are you talking about Friday when they actually showed this video, or you're
not Tuesday? Friday, but I asked you that earlier, which days you all came, and I believe you said no one was there. It started Wednesday for you all, correct?
No, did not go there in person on day 2.
Okay, because he said this is from day 2. So I guess because this was shown for the judge and for I believe the attorneys. So that's the reason he was able to catch this, because whenever they played whatever version for you all Friday, he compared it and he said, this has to be the same footage based on the description. And that's how he know there is no HD footage, because they made the mistake. We weren't supposed to see this from day 2. But once they show whatever version they claim to have shown Friday, all he did was compare the video footage that was accidentally shown to the public or to the cameras on day 2. He compared it to the description of what they claim to have saw Friday. And that's how he knows it's the same footage, because they decided to play it early in the week strictly for the judge and the attorneys. Yes. So now we know that what Brandy has said is absolutely true, which begs the bigger question. Number one, why would you come out and lie so well? So well.
It's like, what else are they lying about? It's like, it's like, what else are they lying about? You know, it's like, it just makes me fully believe even more that there's a huge cover up going on. Because if you could just blatantly lie, no problem about this, what else are you lying about with this whole thing? Like, it's crazy.
Totally agree. Charlie's parents, I didn't ask you all about them in particular. Did you all know what Charlie's parents looked like prior to the preliminary hearing? Because I don't think very many people know very much about his parents.
I'll let you guys answer first if you want.
I didn't.
I knew what they looked like. Yeah.
Okay.
I had seen like some photos of them, but I wasn't like, oh, that's them. Like, I had to be like, oh, is that Charlie's parents? And then I got a video of them going into the courtroom or the courthouse. But like I said before, I know that they're very low key people that don't like to be in the spotlight, don't like to go to events, don't like to comment on like anything really political.
I am curious. I want to say earlier, I believe it was you, Brandy, that mentioned you do not believe that Charlie's parents are on YouTube and that they're familiar with the quote unquote conspiracy theorists like ourselves who are sort of questioning the narrative, and they're mostly relying on the court to sort of figure out what happened with Charlie. And I'm going to just challenge you a little bit there, and I'm curious to hear what you have to say here, based on or partly based on your experience at the preliminary hearing. If I remember correctly, Charlie has a sister named Mary. Is that right?
Yes, he has a sister, but I don't believe that she was there at all.
Okay.
Did you guys see her? I think it was literally just his parents.
Yeah,
I don't
because
know
if
what she
would've
looks like.
been
I just
there-
knew his parents.
Yeah, I feel like if she would have been there, she would have been sitting, with
Next to
them,
them,
and
yeah.
not like, it's like Charlie's dad's on the end, then Charlie's mom, Erica, I believe Erica's sister. This is a guess, sitting next to Erica, a different blonde woman that I'm not able to identify, and then Stacy Sheridan. And so if Charlie's sister had been there, I would assume that she would be sitting on the other side, like with Charlie's parents, where nobody else was.
But there were no photos taken. It was all like, oh, the Charlie's parents. There was never like a photo being like, oh, Charlie's sister. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't really comment on that. I don't believe that she was there, but I can't be 100% certain.
Okay, let me pulling it up for you now, just so we can get her on the screen, and then I'm going to tell you all why I mentioned her.
And Dee Dee, while you do that, I'm going to tell you a quick secondhand story of Brandy and I. We went to Florida back in February for an event that was totally unrelated to any of this, and we happened to meet somebody who had just recently had an interaction with Charlie's father. And no, she was not there. Do you guys agree?
I don't recognize her.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah. That is definitely his parents. So Brandy and I met this man, and again, this is technically hearsay, right? We met this man, and we're in a community of people who all know each other, and Brandy and I are like the people that nobody knows. They're meeting us all for the first time, and I hear from somebody else, oh, that man over there, we'll call him Mark, because he was very, very careful with the things that he was saying after he learned that Brandy and I had podcasted about this stuff. He did not want to be a public figure or out in the open, but he had just recently, just a couple weeks prior to us meeting him, had seen Charlie's dad at some event and had a small interaction with him, according to Mark. And, Mark is on the side of Candace Owens, that there is something wrong with all of this. And Mark said that, he went up to Charlie's dad and was like, hey, how's it been going? And Charlie's dad was very approachable at first, but then very standoffish towards Mark after he started bringing everything up. And this is not revealing in any capacity, but it is just, I guess, another example, just reinforcing the fact that Charlie's parents may be very, they do not want to talk about the conspiracy theory.
I just would assume that they're probably, like I said, not on the internet. They probably don't, I don't know. I'm just making an assumption here just based on the people that I know that are in their 60s and 70s. They're not really watching a bunch of different YouTube people and going down those rabbit holes. They're believe in and trust the government and think that the court system is going to work it out. And so and also I wouldn't assume that they believe that their daughter-in-law is sketchy in any type of way, unless Charlie was telling them things that we're not aware of, but I don't know about that. Based on what I've kind of gathered, it seems like they were kind of out of the loop with things like this. So in my opinion, they probably are just trusting the court system and how it's all going to play out. And I'm sure they're extremely overwhelmed and, this is probably like, obviously it's a lot for them. So yeah, in my opinion, I don't think that they've been entertaining any of the conspiracy theories.
Okay, that's fair. The only thing I would say is that everything you just said makes perfect sense why you would believe 60-year-olds would, because the average 60-year-old is probably not on the internet, let alone following everybody's rabbit holes and conspiracy theories and different, investigations, for sure. Totally agree. This is what I'd say, however. The reason why I mentioned Charlie's sister is because Charlie's sister, from my understanding, and it appears here that she may be younger than him. And even if she was his age, right? 32, I'm 32 as well. And that's relatively young. And if they're not online, I can almost guarantee you his sister is. And so then that would beg the question, is she comfortable enough, because she looks a lot like Charlie, in my opinion, would she be comfortable enough to at least run it by his parents? Now, we can get into other theories about his parents and things of that sort, and some people in the chat are already alluding to that, but I would imagine that they've heard some things already, whether they choose to believe it or not. I would imagine that they've heard them already, and I'm curious, which is why I asked about his parents, how they were behaving. But you all have already expressed that. I was just curious, because I am under the belief that there's a good chance that they have a better idea what happened with their son. And someone said something to me that reminded me of a murder documentary I watched not long ago. I'm really big into murder documentaries, and one of the murder documentaries I watched in the last 2 or 3 weeks, at the end of the video, we found out that the person that was responsible, I am not saying that Erica is responsible for anything here, but what I'm saying is we later found out that the wife, because the spouse is always the number one suspect until they can be ruled out, which makes the most sense. It turned out at the end of the video that the spouse was the person that took out the husband, and the parents knew. Blew my mind. And I was asking, like, why would they not? And my fiance actually told me, she was like, well, that's probably most likely because the grandparents wanted access to their grandchildren, and they would have lost access to their grandchildren if they said something, or they were in fear for their grandchildren if they said something. And I continued to play the rest of the video, which was only about 3 minutes. And the narrator literally said the very thing my fiance had just told me. That it came out that they were in fear that they would lose access to their to their grandchildren, and they just wanted to sort of fight it out. And I'll actually send that video to you all, because it's one of the biggest stories, I believe, out of Texas. This lady gave birth to a baby in a car while driving by herself, but it turned out, when she got to the hospital, the baby that she had in her lap, when the police officer pulled over for speeding with her hazard lights on, she had a baby in her lap. She said, I just gave birth. He was like, that's absolutely unbelievable. And they rush her to the hospital. They do a blood test. The doctor does his examination, ruled, number one, the blood did not match this woman's blood. Number two, she, based on his examination of her body, she had not just given birth, and she had not given birth in years.
That was a wild documentary.
You've seen it?
Yes, crazy.
So apparently the parents, it turns out that this lady killed a woman, cut the baby out of this woman's belly. It was a friend of hers. I don't want to give too much away, but this is a true story. It turns out that the parents had more knowledge about who may have done it, but they were a little bit hesitant because they were going to lose access. That being this woman who got pulled over with the baby, her parents stayed silent. They knew that their daughter had got, what is it, a hysterectomy or whatever, where you're not able to have children as a woman, whatever it's called. They knew that it was impossible for her. She was all over the news. They knew it was impossible for her to have a baby. So they knew that she had done something. She had done the very thing, most likely done the very things the cops and the prosecutor or the district attorney was accusing her of doing. But they stayed silent because they wanted access to their freaking grandbabies. And I immediately thought about that when it came to Charlie's parents. I'm like, I wonder if they're just going along for the ride, because shoot, I may, if they went this far, I may lose access to my grandbabies, and this is all I have. And this is the closest thing I have to Charlie now.
Is it called Material Instinct?
Yes, on Netflix.
Someone got it.
Material Instinct. Okay, I want to watch that later tonight, maybe.
It's gonna blow your mind. Like the first 2 minutes of it, 3 minutes of it, you're gonna like. First and foremost, you're gonna feel like they gave you all the information to the documentary in the first 3 minutes. You're gonna like, that's everything right there. That's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. No, you're not even halfway prepared for what that documentary is gonna show you.
Maternal instincts, not material.
Instincts,
Maternal.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
And not only to have access to the grandchildren, but if you're the only normal, sane ones that they have, like, it's so much more important for you to be there for them.
Right. It's like you don't want to lose that because those poor kids,
they need you. Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah. So that's what I thought about with that. We've discussed Erica. We've discussed the parents. We've discussed Tyler. We've discussed high quality footage, or supposedly high quality footage. Any other thoughts or things you ladies would like to share? Sort of your takeaway from the preliminary hearings, what you sort of expect going forward, that you like to leave the audience with.
So we wanted to just kind of discuss Graham Allen, Brandon Tatum, there are specific people that have used harsher language at us, which I find to be interesting just from a psychological standpoint.
They've addressed you directly?
Well, that
on X.
Graham called Brandy directly a liar, knowing that she was in the courtroom, and saw what he saw and had the most objective take of any of them. And there are also specific people who've been pushing this narrative that have been less harsh with the verbiage that they've been using towards, all of us.
Yeah.
And, when Jack Sobek did that interview with Megyn Kelly, the one thing that he said that was negative towards us, she was like, I think she was hoping that he would maybe say something more negative because, the negativity sells, right?
Yeah.
Is what was the exact verbiage that he used? He was like, you have to be.
He didn't even really address me. She literally mentioned my name, read 2 of my X posts, and he didn't address me like at all. Because I think that he was just like, well, I mean.
And why do you think that is, that he has not been so rude?
Like, or even responded back to anything that I've ever posted regarding this. I think it's because, well, one, we talked to Jack Posobiec outside of the courtroom for about 20 minutes after the court hearing. And he was super nice to us. We had like a full-on conversation with him and 2 other people. I mean, do we want to say who those other people were?
I mean, those people aren't really.
Yeah. But he was like, yeah, I know who you guys are. I liked your guys' video that you made about the prosecution and the defense. It was really helpful. Like, basically saying like he like learned from it or something.
Back in January, we made a poster board.
And like went through the whole prosecution team and the whole defense team
with the judge.
And it's like, I don't think that he's going to go on Megyn Kelly and say that I'm lying when he knows that I'm not.
And he's met us and he's been kind to us. I'm not going to say that he was outright complimenting us, saying, you guys are awesome. I love your stuff. I know he doesn't love our stuff, but he did compliment us there. He was being very civil, very, I don't know if kind is the correct word.
I mean, he was friendly. We we're all chilling afterwards, talking about random stuff. And like,
so we were talking about stuff that wasn't even related. Like, we were just getting along. It was really cool.
But now I'm starting to think that maybe it was a manipulation tactic.
Of course,
maybe he was being nice to us because he goes, hey, if I'm nice to these girls and I tell them that I know their stuff and I like them, maybe they won't come out against what I'm saying because they're going to feel bad because they're going to go, oh, well, Jack was really cool. Like, maybe we won't say that he's not telling the truth. Sorry. No, I'm going to call it out like it is. And if you're not being honest, I'm going to say that you're not being honest.
Yeah. But all of that to say, he has not once said anything hateful towards us, as opposed to, Benny, Graham, Brandon, a few other smaller creators that are saying very hateful things. And I don't know. I'm like, is that because we connected there and you don't want to, is there some morality showing there? I'm not sure.
Do you remember specifically what someone like an Officer Tatum said? I wasn't aware that he responded to you all. I know he's since responded to Candace because that's been a running thing over the, they're supposed to be like brothers and sisters, but that's the one person he would not directly address. He'd like indirectly say things about conspiracy theories, but he would never say Candace's name, even though his audience kept asking him to. But he just in the last few days have deliberately come out and said her name and gave his thoughts on Candace. So I'm
I
curious
don't know
what he
if
may have
Brandon
said about
Tatum
you all.
said anything about us directly.
I
Okay.
really don't believe that he has replied directly, but everyone in that circle.
Well, I think they're afraid to, dude, because it's like they're not going to go on the record saying that we're lying when we're literally not. Like if we were blatantly lying, I feel like they all would be like calling me out saying Brandy's lying about this, 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 and this when I'm not. And so I don't think that they want to put that in writing that I am. Like, what if the video gets released? I hope it does. I really hope it does. But like, that's not a good idea for them to go on X and stuff and say that I'm lying when they know that I'm not. So
yeah,
I think they're being very cautious about what they're saying and how they're saying it.
Yeah, just after verification here, Officer Tatum did not ever directly respond, but it's the constant grouping what is obviously, the girl with 3 million interactions on X and the conspiracy theorists are lying, and it's the indirect responses that I'm like, oh, you're saying we're lying. But Jack, for one, has never once come forward and said these, the conspiracy theorists are lying. He has pushed his stuff. And then even when Megyn Kelly had asked him a question, he said something along the lines of, you have to be out of your mind to take that stance.
He said, you're losing the plot if you
Yes.
think that, because she asked him directly about me and what I said. And he just said, you're kind of just losing the plot if you just, just because you can't see someone physically pull a trigger, that doesn't mean that the video didn't happen, and it didn't happen. And like the fact we even have a video is crazy. Like just kind of danced around the question, like didn't want to address me or what I said at all.
Yeah.
So.
And you notice that, which means you know how to listen to trained politicians. He gave a political answer, right?
Yeah.
He answers in a way, first of all, he didn't address the problem. But now that I know the backstory on your end, it makes even more sense why he would word it the way that he did, because he's almost speaking to you all, speaking to you two directly. He know that he spoke to you two. So if you were to see his clip, you won't be as offended by the things that he said. But there's something I want to say before I get Teresa in here. When Benny Johnson spoke, one of the things Benny Johnson did, first and foremost, one of the things I noticed immediately was his charged language. He's speaking like he's reading out of a novel, using words like gasp and things. It's almost like reading the text messages Tyler Robinson supposedly sent. It's like no one really talks like that in real life. And here's Benny Johnson using this extravagant language like he's really trying to convince whoever's watching the video. But one of the things that he said was about Erica, him mentioning the fact that Erica was profusely crying in Charlie's parents' arms. Using language like that will force whoever's watching to visualize this. So once again, if you're one of those people that are neutral and you don't quite know how to feel about it, a video like that and saying something like that could convince and draw more people over onto that side, which makes me believe that when you all tell me that you see Erica inside of the courtroom crying, I don't want to say that I believe she's faking. But when I hear about the timing of the crying, and then it's since been proven that Benny Johnson them indeed lied about what they saw in the courtroom. Now, knowing that Erica Kirk asked these people to come into the courtroom on that specific day to see that footage, that makes me believe, bring the influencers, make sure that you force this narrative about what they showed in the courtroom, and also make sure that you mention that I was crying. You sell this image, the people who already support us are going to run with it. The people who are straddling the fence don't really know how to feel about it. We can draw them over. And that's what that makes me believe when I listen to Benny Johnson. He took what Erica did and he sold it to the public.
Yeah, well, we learned because of the, from the White House Correspondents' Dinner that Erica's tears, play well.
Right. I just want to
With the
go
public.
home.
Yep. So they're using that now every chance they get.
And wasn't Graham Allen in charge of that?
I actually
campaign?
I don't know.
I think, who was it that told me that? I was talking to another podcaster, and they said, I could be mistaken, but I thought that they said that Graham Allen.
It was somebody. I know what you're talking about though, because Candace was actually the one that was leading the trust. She put up like a $10,000 thing to whoever would give her inside information on who filmed it. And they found out that some lady filmed it, and this lady supposedly was working alongside or working for somebody that may have been a Graham Allen. I do know what you're talking about because I remember that vividly.
Yeah. And that's what someone just told me the other day. And I don't remember who or exactly what they said, but they were implying that Graham Allen was one of the people that was behind that whole campaign.
Right.
Allegedly.
Because supposedly there was then an email sent from the White House, some department in the White House that was sort of pushing this, talking about the whole how it was trending online. Like, why do you care that Erica is trending online for crying? Is just very strange. All of it is very strange.
Which is them pulling the strings and TPUSA their propaganda arm to sell everything they want to sell.
Exactly. Did you all see Andrew Covet's video on what is it? TikTok?
TikTok. Yes.
Oh, the one where he was like, I have more questions now. It's like, oh, now you have more questions, bro?
All right.
Okay.
But if you notice, one of the questions he didn't have was, how can a 30-06 connect with Charlie Kirk and not completely blow his head off? You think that his neck just ate a 30-06, even though all these Green Berets and experts are coming out and doing these samples and these examples showing that that's virtually impossible. You can have, sure, something different will happen every single time, but what you'll never see is a human neck eating a 30-06 bullet. But that's what they keep telling us, So I just thought that was interesting.
It said he was a man of steel.
Right.
And it was a miracle.
Right. Exactly.
Now he has questions about it. Like, okay.
Yeah. So was Andrew Covet not in the courtroom?
No.
The Charlie Kirk show must go on.
What? Andrew Covet was there. Mikey McCoy wasn't there either?
No.
Blake Neff? No. So, I mean, I was talking about that specifically with someone, and I was like, how would you not show up for this? Oh, I can't imagine if one of my best friends, no, I would be there every single day. But someone made a good point, which is still not a good point in my mind if it was me, but they were like, well, it's the Charlie Kirk show that they have to be filming for and producing every single day. And, they're not making enough money these days to be taking a week off for court.
I think it was me that said that. I was like, well, the Charlie Kirk show has to go on.
Brandy.
No, it was literally the only people that were there were like Erica, his parents,
and everyone.
Brandon Tatum. Yeah. Graham Allen.
Tyler Boyer.
No,
none of the TPUSA
Sheridan was there. Benny Johnson was there on Friday. Who else did we talk about that I'm forgetting? But none of his best friends were there. Like the Charlie Kirk show crew, none of them were there. It was wild. I was like, good friends, guys.
That is okay. That's extremely shocking to me. Part of the reason it's shocking is because one of the campaigns you've seen online is that they'll say Candace claims to have been best friends with Charlie, but she didn't attend his memorial. She wasn't working for TPUSA, all the things, but here they are not attending the freaking preliminary hearing. If you believe all these things about Tyler, why would you not want to face this person? Like, if that happened to one of my friends, that would almost be like my way of getting payback on his behalf or her behalf, showing up for that person to represent and show this supposed killer, like, look at what you did. We are going to see through, we're going to see justice through, and there's no way out of this. Why would you not be there? The only thing I can think of they would say is that there was a limit of the amount of family and friends that could be there. That's the only thing I could think of.
Billy can tell you more about that.
I spoke directly with the man, like the head of security of that courthouse. His name is Chris Palmer. He was there every single day. He was the one who's telling us, do not nod, do not yawn with noise, do not turn around. He's giving us
do not gasp.
Do not gasp.
No gasping.
I mean, that wasn't even mentioned because it's clear based on everything else that he's saying that, I was getting stared at just for moving a little bit too much sometimes, and like stretching, like, moving my neck, whatever. And I spoke with him on Thursday because on Wednesday night, which we should properly call it Thursday morning at 3 a.m. I showed up and I was number 16. Like we've mentioned plenty of times, only 14 people are allowed to get in. And I was like, I'm going to wait it out. Maybe some people are going to leave, whatever. So I stayed there the whole night with Brandy and Teresa, who do end up getting inside. And Chris Palmer, he ends up coming over, and he's a super approachable guy and very strict at the same time. He walks that line very, very perfectly. I'm like, Chris, and he's like looking down, putting someone's wristbands on. He does not look up. He says, yes. And I'm like, yesterday in court, I exaggerated when I'm saying this, and he knew that, and I knew that. It's like yesterday on Wednesday when I was in there, I could stretch. There's plenty of space. I could have laid down there if I wanted to, but I didn't because I was behaving. But I'm just wondering, why can't we allow a few more people in? Are we going to change this? He explained the process to me as, so Erica, she has her number of people that she wants in. Now, what we have to do, I'm Chris Palmer speaking. What we have to do is we have to allow the same amount of people for Tyler Robinson's family. Now, thus far, they have not brought nearly as many people as Erica's side has brought in. But we still have to reserve that amount of space for them in case they change their mind last minute. And he was explaining a different, very big trial that had just happened recently in Utah, which was the Corey Richins trial. It was this woman, it actually made national news. This woman poisoned her husband with fentanyl in a Moscow Mule.
I saw that documentary too.
Yep. And he said what happened with the Corey Richins trial actually is it was the same ordeal with the preliminary where people were camping outside. They really wanted to get in. I believe it was around 20 people, not as low as 14. He said it was around 20 people for the preliminary. And then as the trial progressed, it got less and less and less because one of the families kept wanting more and more people in there with them. So eventually for the real trial, there were no members of the public allowed in, which is allowed because they live streamed everything. So he said word for word, I won't be surprised if that ends up happening with this one as well.
Which ended up not happening.
No, he was referring. So the preliminary was the same for the Corey Richins trial as this one, where only a limited number of people were allowed in and they had to camp outside in order to get in. But as the trial kept progressing, as they, passed the preliminary, got to the pretrial motion hearings, and then eventually got to the real trial itself, are you guilty or not? Then no members of the public were allowed inside at that point because
that would suck.
So many people were let in for the party's side. And he said that may happen with this one as well if Erica keeps wanting more people inside.
Because we haven't gone to trial yet, right? Like this was just the preliminary hearing to see if we have enough evidence to even put Tyler Robinson on trial. And so September 1st at 10 a.m. is when they're going to announce if we're going to trial, which I'm assuming we're going to. So she's just kind of saying hopefully the public can even get a spot at the actual trial.
Would you ladies, not that you have to be there in person to have an answer to this question, but being that you three actually attended, would you ladies say that they were able, that being the prosecution was able to establish probable cause?
I mean, it's not like clear as day, like Tyler Robinson did it. There's so many like holes in this story. Yep. But do I think that this specific court is going to bring this to trial? Yes, I do. I do think they're going to.
Based on just the Discord and the text, I would say yes.
Now, Teresa, if you were the judge, if you were Tony Graff sitting up there, would it be probable cause?
I think so. I think so. Just, based on the texts and the Discord and, that alone.
Because it's like, we all have questions about if Tyler even sent those text messages. Like, I don't think that he did personally. I don't think that he sent them, but the fact that they exist, I think the fact that they just exist can bring this to trial. Yes. But I don't think that a jury is going to unanimously say that Tyler Robinson acted alone and committed this murder. No. Unless they pick specific people or even the jury is shady, who knows? But based on the evidence, I don't think 100% of the jury could be like, yep, it was him and he acted alone.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
There's shadows of doubt.
Yeah, no, sure. I totally agree. And it also should not go unmentioned that the trial that happened in Utah that Billy just referenced was a situation where the spouse, right, once again, who is always the number one suspect until they can be ruled out, was actually ruled out for a certain period of time. And during that period of time, I believe within a year, she actually wrote a book. She wrote a book, if I remember correctly, on how to properly grieve from the child's perspective.
She did.
And went on a media run.
Yep.
To then later be convicted of actually poisoning her husband, which according to the family, if I remember this correctly, they believe she had tried before to poison one of his sandwiches. And he had said himself that he had gotten sick or something. And it was only after he had ate one of his sandwiches that she had fixed for him, like for lunch or something. And that was like 2 years prior. Right. And so then he would eventually pass away from fentanyl poisoning. So that's crazy. But I share that to say the fact that we don't see that in this case, that, or at least publicly, where other alternatives are not even entertained, such as the person who is usually the number one suspect until they can be ruled out, I think is another reason I believe we can't take this serious, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So, ladies, Billy, Brandy, Teresa, I really, really appreciate your time. I'm going to play for my audience a video that I came across that you all may have also saw, if you're on X nearly as much as I am, Tyler Robinson's neighbor. Video resurfaced of his neighbor. Have you ladies saw that video?
No,
I don't think I have.
Okay, I was going to say, I'm not going to force you to stick around for it. If you want, I was going to let you just plug your channels and your podcast and leave if you were free to, if you wanted to leave. But if you want to stick around, I'm going to play this for everybody to see, because I thought this was very interesting. The way she described Tyler, her reaction. And I think this is one of the things a lot of people forgot about. So let's see if we can find his neighbor just sort of speaking about what she thought when she first got the news. Okay, that's not it. That's not it. Okay, there it is.
A neighbor of Tyler Robinson, we're ready to speak with us. Miss Kristen Shorman, can you hear me okay this morning?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Tyler. How well did you know him?
Tyler went to the school I was a head custodian at. I was at that school for 18 years. I know all three of his brothers also.
And one thing I want to ask you, is this something, I'm so sorry to cut you off. Is this something consistent with who you know him to be?
No, no, the kid was smart, quiet. He never caused any problems.
Are you shocked by this?
It was a shock. Oh yes, I am shocked. very shocked.
What can you tell him about us? What can you tell us about Tyler Robinson? You said you've known him for quite some time, as well as his siblings. Any kind of characteristics or anything that you could tell us and share about him?
You know, what I know about Tyler is he was always very quiet. He was very smart. He had just a real mellow personality, never caused any problems. He, like I said, he was smart and he kept to himself, and I don't know who his friends were as of now.
Is there any chatter in your neighborhood right now? I know you said you're shocked. Are neighbors having any conversation about Tyler?
Oh, yes, I'm sure. I haven't been out too much this morning. I've talked to a few people, but those people haven't lived here long enough. I've lived in the neighborhood for 16 years, just as long as they have. And I'm sure everybody in the neighborhood's shocked, because most of these people have been here forever and know him as that kind of kid I did.
And has there been any activity at the family home this morning? We know there is a heavy police presence right now at Utah Valley University, but in your neighborhood, is it business as usual, pretty quiet, or is there an increased presence of law enforcement?
There's a little bit of law enforcement, a lot of news. The neighbors are out walking just to see. Their house is quiet, but their house is always really kind of busy on the weekends and early in the morning when they leave for school and work.
And Kristen, before we let you go, talk to us about, have you been following the Charlie Kirk shooting, the murder here at Utah Valley University, as the rest of not only the state but the nation, and then to find out this morning that in fact your neighbor Tyler Robinson was arrested in connection with the shooting? What are your thoughts as we go back from Wednesday to where we're at now?
I did watch the press on the shooting pretty much all that day. My grandson happened to be at that rally. And then this morning, my son texted me and said, "Hey, this is Tyler Robinson that lives 3 doors down." And I'm like, no, it can't be. And it was. And it's shocking. That's not who's in our neighborhood. And I feel for his mom. I love Amber. She's a great mom, and he has a great dad.
And Kristen, did you see the images that police had released yesterday, that the FBI had released, the photos of the suspect? What were your impressions when you saw that, and to where we're at this morning?
Yeah, did you recognize him? Did you say, hey, that's Tyler?
Not in those pictures. I think he had covered his face well enough. But, I mean, I have their family photo on my phone, their new one, and I would have not noticed that that was him.
And Ms. Kristen, I want to ask you this. You mentioned his mom, Amber, saying she's a great mom. You know, we know that Tyler right now is booked in the Utah County Jail. What message would you send to Tyler if you could say anything to him right now?
What social media were you on and what friends were you hanging around? Because I feel you can't come up with that on your own. I feel like there's some hate in this world, and it shouldn't be that way. And you need to reconcile.
And when you said your grandson, and make sure I'm saying this correctly, was at that rally at UVU, what goes through your mind when you think my grandson is there and my neighbor, you know, is a part of this, unfortunately, in a violent way?
Oh, I have mixed feelings. Mine is I'd rather it been, and this sounds sad, just him than a mass shooting.
Ms. Kristen, thank you so much. We appreciate you for speaking with us this morning.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, I want to make sure that you have all the information that we have received, all the latest information. Again, 22-year-old Tyler Robinson.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that stand out to me about this clip. Number one, she starts off by stating that what I've heard multiple people claim that supposedly knew Tyler, that they were shocked to hear it. They did not believe it when it was first announced that he was a suspect. But then something else that she stated later in this interview is that once they released the photos, she said that she would not have believed that it was, if I heard her correctly and understood it correctly, she said she would not have believed that was Tyler based on what she thought Tyler looked like. So I thought that was a bit interesting as well. What did you ladies take from this clip?
Yeah, I thought so too. She was sure to say that he had his face covered pretty well. I'd be interested to know what she has to say now.
Right.
Maybe we can find out.
Yeah.
At some point. But yeah, I mean, I've been saying that since I first saw Tyler for the very first time in person. The first hearing that we went to, I thought that I had made eye contact with Tyler Robinson. I later learned where his family was sitting and that maybe I wasn't making eye contact with him, but I remember seeing him and like really taking in his face. And, you know, I've seen him multiple times since then. Usually he doesn't really turn around in the courtroom, but it's usually for the motion hearings back before the preliminary stuff started. It was, you know, we would go in the courtroom first and then he would walk in with his handcuffs on. Now for all of the preliminary hearings, he's already been sitting in there, but I've seen him enough times to where, you know, I can look at that photo, the very famous, you know, stairwell photo, and I'm like, that does not look like him. I know this man's wearing his hat and sunglasses, but I just do not think it looks like him. And I believe I'm being objective.
Yeah, I don't think that the photos, I don't think you can definitively say that it's Tyler at all. So I understand where the neighbor's coming from, because when you zoom in on the face that you see in the stairwell, it doesn't look like his face. He has a very distinct face. And in my opinion, I just don't think that it's him.
Yeah, and it seems to me, I'm noticing a pattern. Everyone I speak to says the same thing. And to me, he looks different on like every other photo from him. Like his mugshot looks different than the earlier photos they had released of him. And I don't mean like sort of what you all were alluding to earlier, like when you said that he seems to be getting paler and scrawnier. That's not what I mean. I don't mean like it appears that he's losing weight. It just looks like different people with similar features. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah. Now that image there, they say that the one that's up close with the shades is supposedly a recreated AI image that someone made of him. Now the actual photos of Tyler, still nonetheless, it looks like different people to me every single time, you know. And I find it interesting that not only can we not clearly see his face, which I believe is intentional, but if you notice, whoever these people are, which I believe are all different people, I think we have at least 3 body doubles. I truly believe that. People can call me a conspiracy theorist. I have the t-shirt, I have the merch, link is in the description. If you're gonna call me a conspiracy conspiracy theorist, get my pronouns right. I told you so. I/told/you/so. Get my pronouns right, because conspiracy theorists or so-called conspiracy theorists have been made out to be correct on a plethora of different things just over the past 2 or 3 years alone. So I don't want to hear anything about conspiracy theories. There's something up with these different, like for example, the video footage that they showed of Tyler walking into the police station or the police interrogation room. Have you all seen that?
No.
Walking in, yeah.
Wait, him walking into the police station, that clip doesn't exist.
Yeah, I thought they didn't have that.
Well, yeah, there's
interrogation.
Oh, the video of him getting interrogated, or were him in the interrogation
in the
room.
room?
In the room.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Not turning
Yes,
himself
I know what
in.
you're talking about. You can't see his face in that either.
But correct, we can't see his face in that. But what I found super, super interesting, and I'm trying to find it now, is how he walked into that room. He walked into that room purposely keeping his face down. Who does that?
Yes.
Don't
That's
tell
what
me,
I
well,
was
that was
saying.
him trying to be smart. No, these are all the same people in like the stairwell and all these different places strategically keeping their face down. I
Yes.
just don't believe it.
Yeah,
I
because
agree
when
with
you're
you.
in you're in an interrogation room, you're already caught, right? You're not
Yeah.
trying to hide anymore, and you can tell he's deliberately trying to keep his face off the camera. Even his phone, it seemed like he was actually kind of hiding that to me too.
Totally agree. Totally agree. And shoot, I mean, there's so many there. Okay, there it is. I was just gonna say it's probably gonna be so hard to find it, but I just found it. So let's at least play this for the audience to see. This is so interesting here. So he walks into this room like that could be anyone. That could be
Like he knows where the camera is.
right. And how would he know?
Mm-hmm.
He never gives anything here.
Like all of the footage we've seen of him, it's like it's not definitively his face.
Nope.
Like nothing is definitively his face.
And even I'll take it a step further. It's almost like they tease us. He almost shows it to us. Like he almost looks. But the most we get is just from the side.
Mm-hmm.
It comes off as a bit intentional to me. The last thing I want to ask you ladies, I'm sorry, was somebody going to say something?
I just yeah, in one of his Discord messages he jokes about his doppelganger.
Really?
Yeah.
What does he say? I can't remember this.
He replied that his doppelganger was trying to get me in trouble. So I don't know. I don't have the exact. I was asking Grok because I thought I asked about the doppelganger, so I don't have the exact transcript. This is just Grok giving me what he said, but I felt like that. I remembered them saying that a couple times, that in his chat after September, when he was doing the Discord, that it was in the Discord about a doppelganger.
Very interesting. I would love to know the date.
I don't really remember that.
I don't.
Of him mentioning
But you
that.
guys were in the room that day and I was not.
Okay, after around 1 p.m., after FBI surveillance images are released, user tags Robinson with suspect photos, WYA plus skull emoji, and Robinson jokes that his doppelganger is trying to, quote, get me in trouble. So
I mean, that has to be online because I think the Discord messages were posted. They weren't just for people in the courtroom, correct?
Correct.
Okay, we'll have to look into that and circle back on that because I don't remember that.
This is sort of the perfect way to end this interview or cap this interview off. Have you ladies seen, first of all, have you all seen the individual that was in the crowd at the UVU campus with the handgun or the phone gun? Are you all familiar with that?
No.
Are you talking about the girl that has the gun or no?
No. There's an individual in the crowd with a phone, what looks to be like a phone. And right before Charlie gets hit, this person is sort of like, it's almost like he's shooting it, but it's troubleshooting. So it's not firing off yet. And right when he's doing it, Charlie goes down. You haven't seen this.
You're not talking about Rick Cutler with the shirt thing.
No, I have not seen that.
Okay, let me see if I can find that in just a moment. But Rick Cutler is going to be the second person I move to. Rick Cutler is sort of the most obvious one. Number one, he was facing Charlie as opposed to facing the audience, which is what security is supposed to be doing. Instead, he's facing Charlie. He reaches up his sleeve, and that is the moment Charlie goes down. I mentioned these two in conjunction because I interviewed a gentleman. I don't know. What was it? The audience is going to let me know because they love this interview. This is one of the most well-received interviews I've ever had before, despite the view count, because the interview was actually immediately flagged and demonetized, which, as you know, is going to reflect the view count because we got I guess a little bit too graphic. We were trying to be very careful, but this individual calls his investigation the 320 Operation 322, and it essentially means 3 patsies, 2 shooters, 2. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna show you the image, but it's very intriguing. And this person alleges, and I understand you all have your ideas of what you believe happened to Charlie, and I'm not here to convince you one way or the other, but this individual, Operation 322 is what it's called, and this individual is arguing essentially that Charlie Kirk was actually shot twice, and one of the times he was hit was actually by drone. And this person is arguing that he was shot by a drone in the head. And I understand how ridiculous that sounds. We would have saw it, the blood splatter, all the things. I asked about all of it. And this is an interview. This is a live from either the last live or the 2 lives ago. on this channel. 3 patsies, 2 shooters, 2 distractions. The one that's at the very bottom, the red one here, is the someone that was on a roof. The yellow here, which is one of the patsies, is the individual with the handgun, and I'm going to show that to you if you give me just a moment. The one in the red is one of the shooters that he is alleging is Rick Cutler. The one in the blue that's right behind the red dot right in front of Charlie, I believe, is one of the distractions, which is George Zinn. And then one of the patsies right here is an individual that I actually don't visually remember seeing, but this is another individual that had a gun on him that was actually captured by the police after the fact. And then obviously the person at the very back, the yellow at the very back of the screen, on top of the building that's labeled LC, is obviously Tyler Robinson. But let me find for you ladies, just so you can see it. Let's see. Charlie. I actually screen recorded it, so I may be able to pull this up if I didn't delete it.
While Didi's getting that set up, I know what Brandy believes in terms of, like, we've already gone over that we're open-minded about things and what we don't believe, but Teresa, what is the theory that you feel the most strongly about in terms of what could have happened, like whether Charlie was shot?
Yeah, so far I'm the biggest fan of the shape charge.
Okay,
The
so yeah,
Mike theory.
So all 3 of us are on kind of the same wavelength there.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people in the chat that are very much with the Charlie is alive theory, and I've never been on board with that one, honestly.
No way. I just don't think he would do that.
Well, yeah.
Him as a person, character, I don't think that he would let someone potentially get executed for his fake assassination.
This is what I will say, Brandy. Number one, I have to admit that for some reason, and I only say some reason because I mean Charlie's been trending for months, but he hasn't been in my algorithm as it relates to his older clips. But I have to admit that when you watch older clips of Charlie, and I debated individuals, even though I had to watch dozens of clips of Charlie, I've admitted multiple times that I wasn't the happiest with Charlie as of September the 10th because of the whole Israel ideal. But I agree with Charlie on a lot of things. And you can't deny that when he debated individuals, when he discussed things with individuals, whether it be abortion, whether it be foreign policy, whether it be foreign aid, whatever the topic was about, DEI, Charlie was respectful most of the time.
Oh, yeah, I think so,
and a lot of people, if you just listen to the narrative, you wouldn't believe that. But when you watch him, no one can deny how brilliant the guy was.
Yeah.
So when I watch those clips, I'm sharing it to say when I watch those clips, it's very hard. I agree with Brandy. It's very difficult to believe that a person like that would do it. But there's a reason why people in my audience is talking that way. And that's because there's a lot of things we discuss on this channel that happens with celebrities. And most of the time it's celebrities that we love and we support. I'm doing a series right now on Kobe Bryant. I'm assuming you all know who that is.
Yes, I want to watch
basketball
that.
player.
Yes.
He's my favorite basketball player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of things about Kobe Bryant people didn't like that I won't get into here. But Kobe was not who people thought he was. And a lot of times we believe we know who these people are, and a lot of times we don't. I'm not here to convince you one way or the other about Charlie. But this is what I will say. There's a reason why people are saying they believe Charlie's alive. But Brandy, I do understand why you do not believe that. But before I forget, let me go ahead and play for you all the phone video. Okay, what did I do with it? Okay, let me search it. Okay, here it is. I believe this is it. Let's see.
Localization of the small shards.
Okay. This is a video from X that I screen recorded when I had a conversation with the gentleman. The name of his YouTube channel is We Are Not Going to Mars. That is the individual that has this idea of Operation 322. I screen recorded it because on X, as you know, it's uncensored, unfiltered. They actually show Charlie going down. So I cropped that part out. But what matters here, and even though it looks AI, this is a real image. I've been covering this since probably 2 weeks out. I found this image, this video. The person in the very center of the video in the white t-shirt, just watch their motion. You can see Charlie's head at the very bottom. It's all in one motion. Do you see that?
Yes.
I've seen this video before. Yeah.
Okay.
Like months and months and months ago. And I think someone came out and spoke about it. I don't remember precisely, but
Teresa, have you ever seen it?
No, that's my first time seeing that.
Thoughts?
Are those, what is that, hand signals? Like what's going on?
No, the person, so I understand the video footage that I did show you was quite blurry, but if I'm able to, which I'm sure I am, it'll take me some time since it's like Brandy said, it's been months since that footage was circulating, but like days, if not like a week or so after Charlie, the whole incident happened on September the 10th, that video started circulating and I did an entire episode on the show about it. This person has what looks like a phone in their hand, but much like what many people argue, Rick Cutler may have a palm pistol in his hand, his sleeve, or whatever. We see the motion and the timing of it. You can argue that he did nothing to Charlie all you want, but what you can't deny is the timing of it. The timing of it is literally when Charlie goes down as it pertains to Rick Cutler. Well, what you also can't deny is that this individual with the phone, and I'll find a better quality video for you, it's very clear that he has something that looks like a phone and he's motioning at Charlie. And when he does that, Charlie goes down. And so what this person that I interviewed the other day is arguing, and when I say he has done extensive, thorough investigations, he has like 8-hour series. That's like extremely overwhelming, I know. But he's arguing that was one of the patsies. He believes that what was supposed to happen that day was it was supposed to be a mass shooting, and multiple people, not just Tyler Robinson, was supposed to go down. And when you look at what happened, why else would Rick Cutler do that right there, dead smack in the center for all of us to see? And then this person we can see doing this right when Charlie goes down. Why would he do that? That's clearly some sort of operation.
How would they, if it was supposed to be a mass shooting or they were supposed to shoot multiple people, why were there no other people shot? Like, what do you think the reason for that is?
Great question. I remember asking, his name is Tay or Ty. I remember asking Todd this question, and if I remember correctly, what was supposed to happen failed. So that what we witnessed happened, which I think other people would agree, even if they don't agree with this theory, they do agree that the plan for that day in general failed because what they meant to do to Charlie did not happen according to plan. Where Charlie was hit to some people was not according to plan. So when his shirt does this weird thing, which is why many people believe that it was his mic, good reason to believe that, when his shirt is doing this weird motion that's not consistent with just getting shot straight up, that is some people's belief that they did not execute this to standard. And so from Todd's perspective, and I don't want to speak for him, my understanding is that what he's arguing, just so we're clear, is that Charlie was hit from a drone, and he argues this because I know it just sounds like somebody else that wants to have some different theory. No, he did a fairly decent job of showing the evidence. Charlie was hit from a drone. He shows the infrared beam on Frank Turek's phone. I'm very critical. I'm very quick to, I'll listen, but if it doesn't make sense, I'll respectfully tell you, not buying it. No, he showed me. There was an infrared light on Frank Turek's phone. He shows the video, freezes it, and it's clearly there. Right when the light flashes on his phone, Charlie goes down. And the phone was pointed upwards towards the sky.
I really think you should link this video where you're having this conversation with this guy. Like, if he was good enough to convince you, you know, I've grown a lot of respect for you just having this conversation with you. It sounds like you grew respect for him, having a conversation with him. You should link that in the description of this video, because I'd be willing to watch that for sure.
Yeah,
absolutely. I will absolutely do that. And if you want some short, quick, digestible excerpt from the video, just really fast, because the interview was like 2 hours or something.
Okay.
I have a Didi Got Clips channel. I will also link that in the description right after this, that I posted earlier today. I posted the video earlier today on my Clips channel. And it's like 15, 16 minutes. And it just gives you sort of a quick synopsis of what his argument is. He did a negative lighting on the video that Candace dropped months ago of the video footage that Tara Farnsworth showed to her on the laptop from behind Charlie. So when she video recorded that, what Ty did is he took that and he did a negative lighting. So now Charlie, it's not a regular looking video, but Charlie, or the silhouette of Charlie, is white. Everything that's light colored is black. It's flipped, right? It's inversed. And when you do this, you're able to see, or according to him, I struggle to see it, but he argues that you're able to see the infrared light and the bullet. You do see something come inside of Charlie's head, and you watch Charlie's body react to it. Just for the record, I am 70-30 on if Charlie is alive. I am 70%. I'm 70% convinced
that he is alive.
That Charlie is alive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I am 30% convinced that he is not.
Okay.
Now,
interesting.
For that 30% that he is not, what's your favorite theory for how that happened?
Great question. I don't know the answer to that, Teresa. What I do know is that my favorite so far is the microphone, and Ty's theory is really growing on me in just 3 days. This is not a person. I don't just bring anybody on the show just to go for views. Have you done the work? Do you really have a credible, substantive argument? He has it. This man he's been trying to get my attention for months. He has hours upon hours of videos and angles and footage. He started talking about stuff that I cover on the channel that I don't want to bore you all with right now, about Trump's history that ties into what happened with Charlie, that impressed me to a level that very few people have impressed me on this show. That told me alone, this person is worthy of checking out his work. Just so you all understand, when I say 70% convinced that Charlie's alive, I still agree with what Brandy said, which is part of the reason why I can't see Charlie doing it. But there are other things about Charlie that I'm still curious about. And I discussed this a few months ago. A video went viral all over X. I interviewed this guy named Brian the Auditor. He is the very first person to do the Doge style audit that Charlie sent the memo out about. Brian, the auditor, had already started in his own personal audit of TPUSA years before 2025. So when everything happened on September the 10th, he emailed me and said, hey, man, I got this stuff I've been working on. Candace just shared that Charlie sent out a memo to his employees. I'll share it with you, man. He comes onto the show. It goes viral. It's everywhere. Candace sees it. Candace comments under the video here on YouTube, and I can share that with you all if you'd like. And she reacted to the video. I don't know if this is true. I'm not accusing Candace of anything, but Candace did correct a couple of things we said about her in the video. And she watched the video, so she had to have heard what we said about Charlie. Things we questioned about who was funding Charlie, how Charlie, and part of the reason Charlie was so popular. And I don't know if it set well with Candace. And because of the people who was funding Charlie, just so you follow along with me, because I know you all love Charlie. My understanding is you all love Charlie. It's more so about the people that was funding Charlie as to why I believe that it's possible this could have been something else. And the last thing I'll say, it would make sense. Are you all familiar with Jesse on Fire?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jesse on Fire and I have been corresponding. We're trying to find the right time to collaborate, but he's done a series of why he believes Charlie's alive. He's covered several things that I didn't even know that are very intriguing, including things that I also talked about on my Patreon probably a month after everything happened.
I haven't fully looked into his theory. I've seen like clips of it, but I haven't like watched all of it. But I just have to say, if Charlie Kirk is alive, if I ever see him, I'm gonna punch him in the arm.
You would never see him.
I'd be really mad at him.
You would never see him if it were to be true. I want to be clear. It is very possible that he is not alive. But if he was to do it, just hear me out with this. It would explain not only the behavior of Mikey McCoy, not reacting, turning around, walking away. That gives us reason to believe you have foreknowledge. Well, someone would say, yeah, he was in on it. He set up Charlie. Keep following along. It would explain Brian Harpo's behavior. Have you all seen the cameraman's behavior from that day?
The cameraman.
Which one?
Before you all leave, this clip is like 9 seconds. Here it is.
Oh, yeah.
Play it one more time. So this is what I'll say.
I have never seen that.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Let me get this video off the screen. Who just said that? Was it Brandy?
I don't think I've ever seen that. Like
I've not seen. I've seen that
like that clip, but I've never like zoomed in and focused on that specific camera, and that is weird.
But also, I will say, I don't think that points to a Charlie is alive theory more so than just people had prior knowledge of something in general.
Okay,
yeah, that could
that's
be
fair.
true too. That could be true too. That maybe he knew about it prior. Because
Okay,
why would
so
you
let's-
react like
let's-
that? That's crazy.
Let's entertain that.
Well, and I thought pointing the camera toward the action of what, people running that direction.
So let's
As a camera
entertain that.
person,
So
I'd do
people would say, and I already know what many people in the audience are going to say, but I totally understand where Brandy, Billy, and even maybe even Teresa would come from. They were in on it. Let's think about this. So Mikey McCoy turns around, and I have to give credit to Candace on the timing of this. Many of us found this clip before Candace, but Candace timed it. In less than a second, he turned around with his phone up to his face before Charlie was even going down.
Yeah.
So it's impossible for him to know what happened to Charlie.
Mm-hmm.
So he turns around immediately. Terrell Farnsworth runs and stumbles over, immediately records himself saying that they unalived Charlie. How do you know that? And who is they?
Mm-hmm.
But the cameraman. So the cameraman's in on it. He didn't look to see what happened. He wasn't confused about what's happened. He wasn't concerned that there was another Pow Power on this show. I don't say the other word, so I just say Pow Power. He's not concerned that there's another Pow Power. It was like a movie. He turns around and films himself. It gets worse. There are young people. There's a young Caucasian blonde with, I believe she had a MAGA hat. She was on the inside of what I'm calling the ring of the people that was around Charlie's tent. Not a part of the crowd. She was a part of the TPUSA student group. I can send this to you all later because I'd have to really dig into the archives. I covered this like a month after the fact. These were all the early questions I had that made me very suspicious. She wasn't scared. She was smirking. I would never lie to you. I'm going to send you the clip. She is seeming to be smirking. She doesn't duck. She calmly walks away. At this point, Charlie is going down. He's about to hit the ground. Why doesn't she look? Why isn't she scared? Why isn't she running? So the young people are in on it. Why is it that whenever we see Erica, she isn't really crying? And when she eventually started to cry, it was like, maybe it's real. Why do we feel weird when watching you cry? Why doesn't it seem organic or natural? Here's the last thing I'll say, and this will relate to something we played today. Unfortunately, it would also explain why Benny Johnson, Officer Tatum, Jack Posobiec, all individuals that work closely with Charlie, would be in on selling this idea. Now, Brandy, for you and others who say Charlie wouldn't be in on setting up a person to get the death penalty, to go to jail for the rest of his life, the way PSYOPs typically work is the people that we see as a patsy, nothing really happens to them. But that's a conversation for another day. It will probably take more to convince you on that. So while I got you where I have you, I'm not going to push it. We're just going to stick here for now. Benny Johnson, it would explain why people that were friends with Charlie would be in on just selling what they're telling us because they're going along with what they're supposed to be doing. It isn't betraying Charlie in the end.
Sure. That theory is true. Sure. Yeah.
The last thing I'll say is I would encourage you to watch Jesse's series. I think it would, even if you come out on the other side saying, great video, I still think they set up Charlie. I would see absolutely nothing wrong with it. But I think his video, his series, because it's like a 3-part series, I think it would blow your mind. Because he is, like, I would assume all of us are, conservative in some respect, right? I'm not a Republican. I don't believe in Democrats and Republicans. It's all corruption. I've proven that many times on this channel. There's all paid propagandists on both sides. And I think we've been able to prove that. We knew that happened on the left. But since Trump has been back in office this second term, Pam Bundy, like Cash Patel, these people, Dan Bongino, like these people are paid agents playing a role. But anyways, I'm lecturing. The only thing I'll say is it's not an indictment. It's not about attacking Charlie. It's a bigger scheme at play. And a lot of people we see are typically characters. Yes, we can like the things that they represented, but it's bigger than we think. And sometimes when we're sold on how a person impacted our life, like an athlete, a politician, an influencer, it's very hard for us to like see past it and think that they do certain things.
For sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I very much agree with that.
But if you can remind me, I'll definitely send you the video footage of the young lady who's right there beside Charlie's tent, who never runs. She calmly walks off, and she walks off almost like it was rehearsed. And I'll also show you the two young ladies, one looks to be African American, one looks to be Caucasian, standing back by the SUVs. They're standing back there by the SUVs, and they're both recording. They're recording Charlie as he's coming to the car. They're not scared. They're not ducking. They're not running. And they're young people too. So if we are to believe it, we got to believe that everybody set them up. The cameraman knew. The cameraman, the young people, some people in the crowd.
Yeah.
You know.
Hard to wrap your mind around about what really went down.
Yeah. So, but as a reminder, that's why I'm 70-30. I'm not fully sold on either, but there are questions on both sides, you know, that makes no sense that haven't been answered, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but with that, I think I've taken way too much of you ladies' time. I want to say thank you so much for coming onto the show, conversing with me. Thank you for sharing your insight on your experience at the preliminary hearing last week. That was very insightful, because there's one thing to see these clips online or even to see the live streams. It's a completely different thing to hear from someone that was sitting there in person, laid eyes on Erica, who to many of us are not even real people. We've never seen some of these people in real life. You all have seen them. So it just creates a completely different experience and take away from it. Hunter Kozak. Yeah, exactly. I don't know if you all have seen the breakdowns on Hunter Kozak.
Brandy and I have met him.
Okay. Do y'all just real quick? I promise I'm gonna let you go.
No, you're good.
I gotta know. Do you know who Hunter Kozak is? Like, have you heard the backstory on him?
Well, what do you mean? We've like hung out with him, I guess.
His parents and that.
Yeah, like we
parents.
watched Baron stuff. We watched everything that he had to say, and then we immediately went and hung out with him.
Okay. So you don't know,
I don't
like,
want to say like we've hung out with him. Like that sounds
Yeah.
weird.
Well, we were
So
like,
you don't
hey,
know his
will you
parents?
please like have a conversation with us since you refused to interview with us?
Yeah.
And you meet us at a bowling alley.
And he was like, I will meet up with you guys, but we're not talking about Charlie Kirk.
But we did a little bit.
We did a little
we
bit,
snuck it in there.
Yeah.
okay, Teresa, you know, it sounds like you know a little bit about him.
Yeah, about his background, his parents, and the shooting. There's another shooting back. We don't know what was it, if it was his brother or him. Yeah, I know a bit.
Okay, so Hunter Kozak, his father works with Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy Kimmel, if you all remember, was temporarily suspended for remarks he made about Charlie, coincidentally.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Kimmel works, I don't know how much you all know about this, maybe nothing at all, maybe a lot. He works out of a Freemasonic lodge. Do you know anything about Freemasonry?
A little bit. Enough.
Yeah, a little bit, but you probably definitely know a lot more.
Okay, so the only thing I'd say here is I don't think that's a coincidence. I also don't think it's a coincidence that I'm sure you all seen the footage of him doing what appears to be rehearsing before Charlie arrived.
Yes, I have seen the clips of him making a face.
Should we mention the fact that, so we actually met the person who was standing in line with Hunter, who was speaking with him. He was like number 5 or 6 in line for Thursday's hearing when I wasn't able to get in, but still hung out in the line all night. We met the person that he was speaking to, and I confirmed in the video, and I followed him on social media and everything. So Hunter was speaking to this guy while that video is being filmed. We met him in line for Thursday's
Interesting.
hearing.
Did he explain like what Hunter was saying or doing when he was?
He said that they were rehearsing. Well, first of all, he started with kind of just, mentioning that he doesn't he's like, Hunter was not doing anything wrong. I saw all of the videos online about him. I felt so bad. Honestly, I should have made a video kind of backing him up, but I didn't want to get involved. But what was going on in that moment was they were talking about the questions that they were going to ask Charlie Kirk, and they were like, okay, practice, you go. He's talking about the question that he's going to ask, and Hunter's like making fun of him in that moment, and something like, this is how Charlie's going to respond, whatever. But it was all like a very natural conversation is what he was getting at. And you know, it didn't seem rehearsed. It didn't seem like he was rehearsing something. And I am for that stance, I will say.
Okay, I respect that. I'm not personally. I remember the way he did it, and for him to have the same exact reaction right afterwards is weird. Not to mention the thing that he was asking Charlie about is one of the biggest coincidences of all time. For you to be asking him about trans shooters and trans violence when a so-called person who's in a relationship with a trans supposedly shoots Charlie. I just that's something out of a movie. That's
yeah,
all.
that is pretty crazy that happened.
That's all. But with that, please go ahead and do all your plugs. Any channels, any podcasts, please let people know where to find you. Let's start with Brandy.
You can just find me at Brandy Siciliani on Instagram, X, YouTube, and TikTok.
Can you say it? Can you say your last name again one more time in your Italian accent, please? I have to hear it.
What did someone say? My last name was Siciliano. It's Siciliani or Siciliani. Siciliani.
So, I mean, you guys can see, I believe, you can see our titles all added underneath our faces.
Are they flipped or is it mirrored?
No, I confirmed with the chat that it looks like it's flipped for us, but they see it how it is.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So I'm Billy Webb on TikTok, Instagram, X, and then I've been kind of in the chat on and off throughout this conversation, is now noticing on YouTube, which is my small YouTube account that has shorts on it. So
okay. And Brandy, do you have a podcast?
Yeah, just Brandy Siciliani on YouTube.
Okay, got it. And with a last name like that, I mean, you're gonna find her. Teresa?
Yep. And I'm Teresa Bruce, and you can find me on YouTube, Teresa Better Life, Instagram, and X for now. That's it.
Perfect. All right, ladies. Well, once again, thank you so much for your time. Don't be strangers. If there's ever a time, appropriate conversation or topic related to Charlie Kirk or otherwise, and you'd like to chat on the channel, don't hesitate to reach out.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
You are awesome, Dee Dee. Thanks so much for having us.
Yeah, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
That was really cool. That was a really, really cool conversation. Really, really cool conversation. What I was trying to do, chat, is I was trying not to make it. I don't know how their other interviews went with Barron and the other person, apparently A. Jones's son, but I didn't want to make it where they just regurgitated the same things. I tried to make it more of a natural conversation and just talking about what they experienced. There's a good chance that I went live during a time where probably a couple of other people go live around this time. So the way to make sure that those people get to see this interview is to just like the video. That's a very good way to push this video into the algorithm. Once again, shout out to the ladies. Let me make sure that I remember. Make sure that you all remind me to put in the description of this video the links to all the videos. The interview from the other day. And then what was else I was supposed to link? I was supposed to link something else. See, I forgot already. I was supposed to link the interview that I did with Ty from the other day. And I was going to link in the description something else. Do you all remember? Dee Dee, you know about Kimmel and Epstein's chef too, right? That's as crazy as the Freemason lodge to me. Nah, what about the Epstein chef? I'm not familiar with that. I've been going back and forth as far as Candace being controlled op, and I realized, of course, she is. Why else would her channel be getting pushed? Same thing I struggle with as well. I love the stuff that Candace talks about. I support her position on these things. I can't get past the fact that the algorithm, the powers that be, whatever you want to call them, that control these channels are allowing her channel to flourish and hit the algorithm. That's very strange to me. If I ever get to speak to Candace, that'll be the question I have for her. Just curious her thoughts, because maybe she's surprised too, just giving her the benefit of the doubt maybe she's surprised, but I just can't imagine them allowing this lady to push against the narrative and allow her to continue to get hundreds of thousands of views in an hour, millions of views, That's strange to me. But when you talk about that, you're supposed to link YouTube's video, Todd's video. Yeah, I know. Like, what's the other one? I was supposed to link the Todd's video, the 3-part series. Nah, that's Jesse on Fire. Is there something else I'm supposed to link that's mine? And let's be clear, because a lot of people, whenever I say this, people say that, we've talked about this. They use words like jealousy and what are you talking about? I'm not jealous of anybody, especially of Candace Owens. I support what the woman talks about on her show, but I mean, I would imagine somebody that questions things like she does, she'd appreciate me being objective about that. It's weird that they allow her to trend, all right? If I think somebody like myself has been dealing with shadow bans for 5 years, and I'm still dealing with it now, over 200,000 subscribers, I would imagine that somebody that talks about the things that she talks about would deal with shadow bans too. But it doesn't seem that way. And if you think the result is jealousy, the reason why I question that, you've lost the plot. For sure. Thank you. I'm supposed to link the clip from the interview with Ty. You are absolutely correct. Thank you. And you are correct here as well. Brian, the auditor's videos. Thank you. They make money off of her, but they can make money off anyone, right? If they allow my channel to flourish and I get 10, 15,000 people to watch concurrently, they'll make money off my videos too. So I don't know. Maybe that's why. I don't know. Same happened with Russell Brand. All the best channels were nukes years earlier for far less. I heard about that. There was a point, I think it was 2017, 2019 or something, where a lot of people apparently went through things. And a lot of truthers, as they call them, got off of YouTube. Yep. Nothing worse than an echo chamber. We must think for ourselves. I agree. Yep. Anyways, let's get into some super chats, man. I'm tired. Shoot, I've been here 3 hours. Y'all know I don't typically sit here this long. My butt hurts. Melissa, thank you so much for the $100 super chat. I don't see very many of those. A small token of appreciation for the reporting. Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate that big time. Heck yeah. Puppy Paws 888. Thank you for the $15 super chat. These three ladies and Elizabeth Lane are absolute warriors. I actually want to speak to Elizabeth Lane because she had a back and forth with Myron Gaines the other day, which I thought was very interesting. Back and forth with Myron Gaines on an X space. Myron Gaines has been calling people, he's typical. Dude will tell the truth about a lot of things, and he'll give a lot of game. And then he'll start insulting people, calling folks retards and the N-word and low IQ conspiracy theorists. This is the same guy who tells you the quote-unquote truth about what happened on 9/11. But he calls other people that's questioning the Charlie Kirk and the people Charlie Kirk was fighting against conspiracy theorists. But he won't say Candace's name directly, even though Candace is leading the charge on a lot of these theories. But he got a Candace Owens interview. Like, dude. Anyways, he had a back and forth with Elizabeth Lane, and he got kicked out of the X space. Their work, delivery, and their passion and commitment for the truth to come out is so admirable. They provide hope in such a dark, evil world. Heck yeah. Shout out to those ladies for sure. The fake Blake Bednars. So funny. Thank you for the $5 super chat. CEO is involved in this psyop. She knew from the beginning that something went off under Charlie's shirt. Her husband is bot farming our info for MI6. Well, that's interesting. I hadn't heard that one. Particularly the bot farming part. Candace Owens has purposely led us in circles. She always knew who unalived Charlie and why. Candace Owens is an asset. How are you not seeing that? I'm not saying that she is or isn't. I've said many times I find it suspicious that they allow her to trend, and many people won't say that out loud. Surprise, surprise. I'm probably the only person you'll ever hear of this platform size to say that out loud, because it'll hurt your views if you do. You can't clip Candace Owens clips and say these things and expect to get supporters, because it's hard for people to be nuanced online. It's hard for them to support the things that Candace Owens is saying, like I do, but also question, why is it that they're supporting her in the algorithm, which is a fair thing to ask. And I've been asking it over and over, and I'm not going to stop asking that question. You say, well, because the people support her. Well, you don't understand how suppression works, right? They can take likes away from your videos, right? So, for example, if I tell 842 people, hey, I need all of you all to please like the video, which I'm actually saying it in real time. Please like the video. We should have at least 1,000 likes on this video. If I'm telling you all to like the video and you're choosing, and I'm being, if my video is being shadow banned, which most likely it is being shadow banned, then let's say 500 of you like the video, only 330 likes are going to show up. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way for me to know if 500 people liked it, but there's a way for YouTube to know it. So that's one of the ways in which suppression works. You know, so it's a lot easier to just admire Candace, agree with Candace, clip Candace, put Candace in your titles, put Candace in your thumbnails, only agree with Candace, never question Candace, never say anything critical of Candace, only love, only support Candace. You're not going to see that from anybody else. And let's be clear, I'm not attacking Candace at all, because I have no reason to attack Candace. What I'm saying is, and again, if I ever met her in person, I'd ask her this question. What's her response to that? Like, why does she think that they allow her to trend? Because there's a way to shut that down easily. Shout out to Bays, bro. Shout out to Bays, man. We got to get back on stream sometime, bro. Doppelganger's statement is correct. Girls, great work. Didi, get at me. I got you, big dog. I got you, bro. Hey, good work too, Bays. Good work on Trigger Smart's channel. I caught a couple of hours of the live that you all did, the live stream you all did, the preliminary hearing. Great job, man, for sure. Great job. You said that the police officer, the agent, you were the first person I heard say looks like some person from the 90s in the hip hop scene or something. You were the first person I heard say that. And since that point, I've had people come on the channel and ask me about that. So shout out to Bays. Lance interview, they called Tyler Matt. Look at it. Thank you for the $2. Say it again. Lance's interview, they called Tyler Matt. Look at it. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to it and see that. I think I saw it on Twitter somewhere. Somebody said that. Charlie was fake. Thank you for the $2. I think that's very possible. The character was fake, right? Charlie was like so brilliant. I wouldn't blame people who would believe that, for sure. Teresa said, real Bays, you've been trying to reach me. I got you, bro. Bays has been on the show before. Texas Real 007. Thank you for the $50, man. It means a lot. I don't get a lot of those either. You deserve this. God bless, little brother. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. Y'all don't understand like how regular I am. I really am just a regular person. And so when y'all send me $5, bro, I'll be like, man, for people to make the conscious effort to decide to go into on a device, choose a number, type out a message. In some cases, don't even type out a message, and to follow through, because you can always change your mind, and to send me your money because you support something. Like, y'all don't get me emotional on here tonight, bro. But man, I always appreciate that a lot, because you don't have to do that like this. You don't have to do that. Marie 113. Thank you so much for the $100, man. Thank you. So here goes another one, Didi. Wow. Yeah, I don't get a lot of those, man. So it just makes me emotional that y'all, it ain't even about the money. It's about that people connect with you, never met you in real life. Like, I could be faking, I could be pretending. But y'all like, nah, we convinced enough that you're not tricking us, bro. We believe you. We see that you're genuine, you're authentic, and we support what you're doing. And we know that what you're doing isn't always easy from a multitude of perspectives. And for that, man, like I said, man, y'all ain't finna have me crying on here getting emotional, but I love y'all for that, man. The support goes well beyond appreciation and gratitude. So deeply appreciate every last one of you, especially you, Marie. Thank you so much. All right, y'all. Let me get up off of here. I don't like these super long lives because I feel like that discourages people from watching it back. My butt hurts. I'm aching. I'm gonna get up off of here. I'm gonna catch you all in the next one. Please hop in the comment section as always and give me your thoughts on what you think, what you agree with, what you didn't agree with. Hitting the like button and sharing this video because a lot of you all were hopping in the comment section and saying that you weren't alerted that we went live. So I want you all to hear what Brandy, Billy, and Teresa had to say today because I think everything those ladies shared today needs to be heard. All right. Every bit of it, not just from their preliminary hearing experience, but just in general outside of that, what that has led to them believing now and so on and so forth. Make sure you go and give them a follow and support them. All right. I'm going to catch you all in the next one. I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Didi got a podcast. Attitudes and our work ethic become very important in realizing our goals and opening up possibilities. I had lunch a couple of weeks ago with a recent graduate of UCA. And his story is really fascinating. It's one of overcoming homelessness during his time pursuing his degree, first at a community college here in Arkansas, and then finishing his bachelor's degree here at UCA. His narrative ranges from estrangement from family for many years to a hopeful reunion with mother and siblings. His record is one of overcoming odds in a way that I probably could not, and certainly demonstrating levels of tenacity and patience and optimism that I can only marvel at. He wanted to talk with me about his new job and his career path going forward. I really need to be there to learn from him because that's where the real value was.
Everything I say in this video is alleged. Allegedly. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. Y'all can just repeat after me. I really appreciate it. Alright. No such thing. Come on, we can do better than that. Talk to me. Alright, let's start it over. No such thing as a life that's better than yours. You're worse than the rich white people or the rich white Jews that own these record labels because they don't even understand these populations. You have a lot closer relationship to these people and you're leading them to hellfire. You are leading them in the wrong direction in the name of getting rich and famous. How dare you?
Oh, yeah. Didi got a podcast.